Greetings and salutations, friends. We are live. Possibly. Maybe. Once YouTube update. Yes, we are. Yay. I'm joined today with Dev, short fat otaku, stepping into these Romanian shoes.
Oh, my face isn't blinking.
No.
Oh. You didn't program in me to have like a turn on off avatar?
See, I was going to send Discordia a message on like Tuesday. It's like, hey, I'm gonna have Dev on the channel. And then I thought, like, I've done that. And then I checked today and it's like, I didn't do that. So now there's just gonna be Dev's face there.
Oh well. That's not a big deal, I guess.
The next person I need to hire is an assistant to tell me when I haven't done stuff.
But yeah, basically the reason that I'm on today is because I noticed that V has taken over from Kibbs as your main co-host for your weekly show, and I said, you know, I'm around sometimes if you want to have me on to do it. So here I am.
Here he is. Well, you picked a
hello,
good week
chat.
too, because we do have some interesting stuff this week that popped up.
Also, because apparently V couldn't make it, so I guess it's a good time for me to be here.
V has a weird sleep schedule, which he sacrifices for my sake, which I'm very grateful for.
Well, to be fair, you have a weird sleep schedule. Isn't it like 11 p.m. for you right now?
Listen, all of my fans are in America.
And after this, we'll be doing barotrauma, so we'll be staying up until like 7 a.m. your time.
Probably, yes.
That's a weird sleep schedule. When do you sleep?
During the day, when normal people are making noise and being annoying.
Oh, that sucks. Hold on. Someone in your chat just says, talk about the Mr. Beast debacle. I just did that on my channel with Lilith, and there's not much of a debacle there, in my opinion. That was a very short topic. It's not really worth going over, to be honest.
We might give it a quick touch on, because apparently it wasn't anywhere near as big of a deal as Twitter made it seem to be.
Well, that's just how Twitter is. They make everything seem like a big deal.
See, we got a couple of little super chats that snuck in here before we started too, so I might have to clear those out before we get started. Lest I forget about them as well. Marksman of 117B says, will you bring up Deadline Warner Brothers investigation by the DOJ? I do have that on the list of things, yes. It's a bit of a weird thing, though. Not necessarily an investigation yet. Alex Hoffman gives 50 ArchCast membership. Thank you very much again, sir. Jesus Christ. I think like half of my members are this one guy now. Thank you very much.
Oh, really? Jesus, that's a lot, yeah. Damn, dude.
Mr. Bob7370 becomes a member as well. He's like, well, I didn't get one, so I'll sign up. Thank you. And Sajad, the UN is pushing kiddie grooming again. Oh, they've been doing that for years now. It's just another day in Europe. And the Real Holstein says, hi, Dev and Arch. Long time no see, Dev, lol. Well,
yeah, he was just on my channel, Super Chat, talking about the Mr. Beast stuff.
I do hear rumors that Dev does do stuff too on the internet, so.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. And President Irina Vladimirovna Putin says, hey Arch, want to say thanks for the shout out of my Azul Lane Gijinka Hoi 4 mod. It's gone from about 400 subscribers to almost 1,000. Able to watch for a bit today before I get to moving my semi-truck. Oh, that's very cool. Azul Lane is pretty kick-ass. Don't you agree, Dev?
Azur Lane. That sounds familiar. What is that?
It's one of those mobile waifu collecting game thingies.
Oh, okay, that's why I know it. Okay, yeah.
It's not bad, because it's made by, is it Yoastar? I think they're Chinese, which I won't hold against them, because they're one of the few of those online gamey things that is actually, you know, fair and not incredibly abusive.
Okay.
So I can mildly recommend that.
I just never got into games like that. I never got into like Genshin Impact or any of the games that are all like loot boxy or constantly rolling for stuff. I don't know. That whole trend just skipped me.
It's a nice little thing, side thing.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I have them like running on like a different little software thingy in the background, and I click on it occasionally. It's one of those, you have so many entertainment options these days that your brain must be constantly stimulated. Otherwise, like, I'm bored now.
Arch, you got to start like doing one of those unplug times in your life where for a day you just turn off the phone and turn off the computer and you go out into nature.
Dev, I live in nature. Like, deer are eating my fucking decorative trees as we speak. I have enough nature in my life.
To be fair, yeah, like I'm 5 minutes away from a forest that I walk through every day, so yeah, it's kind of nice.
But deer and decorative trees aside, so the first topic for today, the intelligence leaks with a bunch of documents showing all kinds of weird and disparate things that popped up just a few days ago. Have you looked into that at all?
Only a little bit. I heard that it was like kind of a nothing burger. That there was
It's
a leak, but like nothing crazy was in it.
It very much so depends. So, because there's been a little bit of back and forth as to what is true inside of it and what isn't true. So they seem to confirm that the US is still spying on its allies, which we already know because there was a whole thing about that a few years ago when it was revealed in the WikiLeaks, I think, that US intelligence was
Cables.
reading like emails.
Was it the cables
Maybe
where a bunch of diplomatic cables were dumped?
that might be it. Yes. Because basically, the EU, not EU, but lots of EU countries, Germany, France, England, they were having their emails read by the US.
Oh, really? So America knew what was going on?
Yep.
That's honestly not that surprising.
No, it's
Of
not that
course,
surprising.
like, yeah, of course America would be involved in some shady shit. That's just how it goes.
Amongst other things, there also appears to be confirmation that US special forces have been active on the ground in Ukraine as well. Now, that's a much bigger deal because that's not legal in US terms, because Congress, of course, have not agreed to send US military forces to Ukraine. So that must have happened on the executive, Biden's say so, if that is true.
Mm. Well, I think it depends what they're doing. Like, if they're just providing training, then there's probably more leeway. If they're directly fighting, then obviously not, right? But maybe if they're just hanging out in Western Ukraine, showing Ukrainian soldiers how to use some of the new equipment, it's probably not as bad as it sounds.
Oh no. There are already U.S. forces training Ukrainian troops in Ukraine. That's been in effect since a couple of years ago. It's not that. We're talking special operatives carrying out special operations, presumably sharp ones, and presumably therefore again against Russian targets.
Oh, so this is one of those things where basically you have American forces engaging with Russian forces in secret, and they're hoping that it doesn't come out because that turns into a shit show.
That is the assumption, yes, because the documents so far have been very vague, but they seem to detail insertions of special operatives into contested areas and even behind Russian lines. And if that is happening, there is every reason to assume that these are missions that might have even caused casualties, so US troops firing on Russian troops.
Hmm.
There are also counter arguments as well that, I've seen some suggestions that these weren't actually special forces troops at all, that some of them were trainers, like you said, but they are like talking about deployments that worked out or didn't work out. Also, I just noticed the chat isn't scrolling. Let me fix that real quick.
Yeah.
And also that there might have been security personnel, and it's just like the usual, like, in and out of people, because of course they're constantly changing people. That was the error. Because they're constantly, like, rotating personnel, of course. There we go. Now it's live.
Right. So was this the same leak as the Minecraft Ukrainian leak? Is it
No.
the same bundle of documents?
No,
Okay.
this is a Discord leak. Very different.
Okay. Because you heard about the Minecraft one, right? Where basically there was a Minecraft server with files on the server that contained Ukrainian special info or something.
Yep.
Some kind of sensitive military documents. and they were just in a Minecraft server, and they were there for about a month before anybody noticed.
Yep. There was also the casualty estimates. That was a big deal. Because again, there's a lot of like back and forth. Because originally they said that the casualty estimates that were leaked in the report had been manipulated by the Russians, which was an interesting claim because that seems to suggest that the Russians had gotten a hold of this first somehow and then manipulated it and then released it as a ruse. And then a bunch of people started talking about that. I think Tucker Carlson got caught in this trap too, where he was referencing Russian claims that had. So basically, the report had referred to Russian claims rather than making those claims in the report themselves. And then Tucker had referred to the Russian claims rather than the claims in the report.
Right. What do the numbers look like?
They're not catastrophic. They're worse than we have been told, if correct. Basically, it seems as if Ukraine is reporting its numbers as only confirmed KIAs. So those that we know for a fact have been killed, and they've collected dog tags, and they've been registered as killed, etc. Whilst in reality, of course, that number is going to be a lot higher, because if you get hit by 155mm howitzer shell, they ain't finding you.
Yeah, there's no more dog tag. There's no
Yes.
more you.
There's no more you. There's also no records of like missing in action and spotty wounded, so in all due likelihood, the Ukrainian numbers are severely understated.
Mm-hmm. I keep hearing that the Russian casualties are like 10 times higher or something than the Ukrainian ones. Is that true?
They appear to maybe be 2 to 3 times, which is within the rough expectations you'd have for the side like waging the offensive war, particularly considering how badly they got their asses kicked in the first few months. So they sound more realistic.
Yeah. Also considering, I don't know if you remember, but back at the start of the war, there was pictures from Russian troops who were posting on social media like, what the fuck, we're being sent out here with guns that are from the late 1800s, like these crank Gatling guns that are on 2 wheels. We're being sent, like, there's tanks rolling out with no support whatsoever. Like, it seemed to be the first few months of the war were just a shit show.
They were too. Like the first few months were a shit show. The Russian lines were massively overextended. Because they had expected to take Ukraine and the capital quickly, and instead they got attacked from every side, and they would have suffered significant losses during that period.
Yeah. And I do recall, like, I haven't followed the Ukrainian situation that closely. I do recall hearing about a counteroffensive that happened a few months ago, and I assume that's kind of spun down. And are we just at another stalemate time right now?
Yeah, there's been a couple of moves back and forth. There are rumors that Russia is planning to potentially retreat to Crimea. Others are suggesting they're planning to completely withdraw from Crimea, which I think is unlikely. But they might abandon the southern bank of the Dnieper River and give up another large area, because with modern MBTs beginning to arrive in Ukraine now, bearing in mind it's going to take months before the Ukrainian crews are properly trained on how to operate them, etc. But the Russians are not going to be able to hold the opposite bank of the Dnieper River against modern MBTs.
Right. Hold on. There was the return on investment conversation. Do you recall that? Where basically it was claimed by a lot of news outlets, I don't know what the how accurate, that America's return on investment for how much they're getting, how much they're getting for giving however much dollars it is to Ukraine. It's been a huge return on investment because of how much of the Russian military has been completely destroyed. What was your take on that?
It's probably true. I addressed this in a video I did on talking about the war and how the tank is not obsolete yet. Because the thing is, a Javelin costs a lot less than a tank. And so when the US sends over a Javelin and it kills a tank, that is a big return on investment. But of course, that doesn't paint the entire picture, because even all weapon systems cost less than the thing they're designed to kill. Like, a bullet costs cents, and they kill a soldier that costs hundreds of thousands to train, for example.
Yep. I just posted one of many articles that I've seen about 4 or 5 months ago. U.S. aid to Ukraine, an investment whose benefits greatly exceed its cost. I know there's a lot of right wingers right now in America who are saying that we're spending so much money to give to Ukraine. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. But I think if you look at what America's getting out of it, it seems to probably be worth it if we're talking about dollars.
Oh yes, it is. It's an excellent proxy war for the US. It's really mean and cold to say, but it is an excellent proxy war because the US is expanding just money to cripple the Russian war machine. It's an excellent investment. The
Damn.
problem is,
Yeah.
though, Ukraine doesn't seem to be interested in carrying out any more offensives unless they get more stuff. And there was also Zelensky held a speech not too long ago talking about how they were going to need to what was it, send American soldiers over to die, like your children need to die too, or something ridiculous like that.
Did he say that? Was this the speech at Congress?
No, this was a
Okay.
couple of weeks ago, probably.
Okay. No, I didn't see this one. I mean, that's not going to happen. I don't think the American public has an appetite for that to happen. But I think generally people are okay with sending money and not soldiers. That seems to be the case if we're looking about just like what the average American seems to think.
Yes. Now there has been some recent sort of pseudo movements here, where I'll put this in the link chat too. So, according to this Twitter account, which is, verified, but anyone can be these days, the Kiev Independent, so a news organization, right? Mm-hmm. They claim that the foreign minister, something Ukrainian, said that the membership action plan for NATO is no longer going to be necessary to accept Ukraine to join in the military alliance. Now, the action plan is basically the thing that says, like, okay, you've got to have this and this equipment, you've got to be compatible with this and this, you can't be at war, etc. So if that is supposedly no longer in effect, then theoretically, the only thing stopping Ukraine from becoming a NATO member is the other NATO member states agreeing to let them into the alliance.
How come they're getting rid of the action plan?
Well, that's the question mark. I don't think they are. Like, I would be very surprised. It might just be more saber-rattling against Russia, essentially. Like, stop doing that gay shit, otherwise...
I think I heard at one point that part of the action plan is that your borders basically have to be intact and not currently under invasion by another power.
Yes, so in theory, you shouldn't even be at risk of getting invaded if you want to get into NATO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like Ukraine would have to push the Russians back out of Crimea.
Yes.
And then once their borders are secure, then apply for NATO membership.
Yes, and they would have to they would then have to be at peace for, I think, a minimum period of like 15 years or something too.
Oh Jesus, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
The thing is too, though, even if they scrap the action plan, I don't imagine the member nations will be willing to accept Ukraine into the alliance. Like, Finland and Sweden, sure as fuck, are not going to sign off on this, even though their membership is a bit, dicey right now. I very much so doubt Turkey wants to let them in.
Is there animosity between those countries?
No, Finland and Sweden were not in NATO before Ukraine war started, and due to the Ukraine war, they have now applied for NATO membership.
Yeah, well, I think Finland just got it actually because the last two countries were Hungary and Turkey, and they both agreed.
Finland, so I think is in, but Sweden is not.
So how come they wouldn't agree to get Ukraine in?
Well, the thing is, then we would be at war with Russia.
And they don't want to be at war with Russia?
Yeah, considering Finland is bordering Russia.
Yeah. Oh, man, I remember when the war first started, there was a bunch of right-wing talking heads that were saying that this was the end of the liberal world order, and American hegemony was falling, and the libs were finally going to be pushed off the pedestal that they've been on since the end of World War II. And none of that fucking happened. Like, this seems to have blown up in Russia's face, this whole thing.
It has. But what people need to remember, too, is, like, this isn't this isn't conservatives, quote unquote, Russians fighting Ukrainian, quote unquote, liberals. No, the Ukrainians are not very progressive.
No, but I meant like in terms of commentators over here though, like
Yes,
in our
I know
like
that
the
there was a
English-speaking unit,
lot of people who were just being retards about this. In all due honesty, because again, it's the duality thing, right? Where you have to pick a side, and it has to be the most extreme side. It's like we've seen with the recent movies, right? You either have to dedicate yourself to Mario being the worst thing ever, or Avatar: The Way of Water being the worst thing ever, and you can never have the position of like, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that you've been kind of privy to it in private because of the super secret chat, but I've been on like a pretty strict reading arc, reading and thinking for the past 2 years or so, and I've come out of it like very moderate, very much like if someone is spouting a really hardcore opinion, they're probably mostly wrong most of the time, regardless of who it is or what opinion it is. You know,
Probably
it's
because it
it's
deprives you
yeah.
of finesse, of like detail.
hmm And I realized that like the greatest writers, even ones that I completely disagree with, like Karl Marx, for example, they had at least one good idea. They were clearly very intelligent. They were passed on and became names for a reason, even if you disagree with them. You know, so it's always good to read people that you don't agree with. Um, but sorry. But back to this conversation though. Um, so the leaks that you were talking about, you said these were Discord leaks, right?
Yes, so that's where it gets funny. Actually funny. So,
Mm-hmm.
there was a little. So, the Discord leaks, right? They have arrested somebody. So, from the CNN here, FBI arrests 21-year-old Air Force guardsman in Pentagon leak case. So, his name was what it. Jack Texiera? Texiera? I don't even know. It's
Hold
a
on. Do you have
weird
that?
last
Do you have
name.
that article?
I'll put it in the link channel.
Okay. Yeah.
Jack takes Syria or something like that. He had leaked the documents on a private Discord server where, oh god, what was it again? Let's see. Ah, yes, the private Discord server, quote, Thug Shaker Central, end quote.
So somehow he got a hold of these private leaks and he puts them on his Discord server. I've heard about 30 people were on there and he wanted to seem real cool to his 30 friends on this Discord server.
Yep,
And now
roundabout.
he's basically fucked for the rest of his life.
Yep. There was also, I found another article covering this, basically saying the Discord server, where roughly 24 teenagers posted racist memes and talked about Halo and guns.
Okay, so I want to show you this, Arch, if you don't mind pulling this up. This is kind of funny. So this was the airspace radar, whatever it's called, over top of his house.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a busy neighborhood.
There was just 4 helicopters circling his house just for a while
Yep.
before he got arrested, just to make sure he didn't go anywhere.
There were also news choppers too, apparently.
Mm,
So I gotta say, and then we're gonna get a little bit conspiratorial here, which is dangerous on YouTube these days, but
yep.
I think this is bullshit.
What do you mean?
I think this is a setup. The dude in question here, he's not even an officer. He's a E3 class in the National Guard Air Force in IT. Like, this is some fucking desk jockey who somehow got access to documents detailing Spec Ops operation in Ukraine. I don't see it. And then they caught him immediately. So this guy, right? He's clever enough to somehow get a hold of this document, to smuggle it off like the base. Bearing in mind also, this would be definitely like CCIF stuff, right? Sensitive compartmentalized information. Like, this shit is kept in areas of the base, of the military installation, where you don't get to carry anything, like cell phones, recording devices, strict verboten, right? And he managed to
Yep.
smuggle this out. And then he posted it on a random Discord server with enough electronic tracks to get himself caught within a week. So he must have been both incredibly smart and incredibly stupid.
Well, I mean, that happens all the time. There are very, very intelligent, incompetent people. That part's believable, at least.
Perhaps. Well, again, and I don't even know how he. Okay, so theoretically, to try and because again, this guy, he's an E3, so he's an enlisted personnel, private first class, essentially, or airman first class, as they call it. This guy is a complete nobody. The only way I could see him getting access to this information is if some server in the Pentagon got the boogies and had to be shut down, and they had to move the documents over temporarily or something. And even then, he should never even be in a room with this shit.
So if it were if your conspiratorial thinking's correct, what do you think actually happened?
I think they needed somebody to take the blame. That's my conspiracy theory.
That basically it was leaked another way and they faked the Discord server and all that shit?
Yeah, and they needed somebody to take the hit so they could be seen to restore order quickly.
I mean, maybe. It's always possible, right? But it's not completely out of the question for me, because there's always going to be, low-level grunt workers who are moving files around, and some of them might be classified, and they're told not to look at them, and they peek anyway. That seems believable to me.
Potentially, but it's everything behind it as well. Okay, so, for example, he was described, quote, "A lot of people were very wary of him. He was more of a loner and had a fascination with war and guns, which made him off-putting to a lot of people."
He's in the fucking military.
Yes, he's in the fucking military. And then there's his Discord server, like Thug Shaker Central, filled with racist memes and Halo.
So they just found like a random incel who's working for the military, and they're like, we'll just blame it on him. It's possible, right? It's possible.
One student recalled him showing up to school wearing a shirt with an AR-15 on it. Like, oh my god, no, how could he?
How could he? In America, where you have a gun culture and where he's part of the military, and he's oh my god, yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. It's, you know what I think it might be? It's probably a blending of both of them. I think he probably did get his hands on it. Maybe he looked at a server he wasn't supposed to look at. Maybe he was given files and he was told to do something and told not to look at him, and he looked at him anyway. But somehow he managed, just through basic procedural work, got a hold of these files. He decided to keep them for himself. And now that he's being arrested for it, to prevent him from becoming a martyr, the way that other high profile leakers have become martyrs, they're trying to slander him with all this other shit.
Maybe
so they want to prevent they want to prevent another Julian Assange or something like that. Or who was it? Who was the one that transitioned? I forget, Caitlin something. I forget the name. But basically, there was somebody. There was somebody who leaked a bunch of stuff and then transitioned after they leaked, and now the name is different. But I forget. But it doesn't matter. But basically, every time somebody's leaked files from the government, they've become this martyr figure for a large section of people who believe they're just getting the truth out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the government probably wanted to just prevent that from happening with this guy, so they're painting him as like an incel potential school shooter, whatever they can slap on him.
Manning, says chat.
Chelsea Manning. Yeah. It was Bradley Manning and then became Chelsea Manning. Yeah, okay. That's what it is. That's the person who leaked stuff and then transitioned.
See, I'm gonna adopt the Devian position on this that you adopt on the FBI and Twitter. In that what you're saying is entirely reasonable as well. It is. Mm-hmm. There are many points of contact there where I would say that shouldn't happen, because again, these documents, you don't hand this shit to some fucking clerk. This is why we have the SCIF rooms in particular, so that you cannot leak this shit. But through a long chain of incompetency, it is entirely possible that it could somehow have passed his desk because a data center crashed, or they got shipped to the wrong address inside of the military, or they were labeled wrong, or a million other idiot things. Or, alternatively, conspiratorial again, maybe someone, because this guy had a reputation, right? Maybe someone within the military was like, how about we send a couple documents across his desk and see what happens?
Yeah. Or they're hoping that he doesn't do anything shady with them. But
Or
he
they're
did.
setting him
He took
up
the bait.
again. Like,
Yeah.
there's an officer walks by his desk, goes, whoopsie, drops a dossier on it, and like, oh, damn, I hope nobody reads those, walks on again.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you remember the Chelsea Manning case, but basically what happened there was Manning worked in IT and had access to a bunch of servers that they really shouldn't have had access to, but because just over the course of doing their job, they had to like fix computers and do whatever, so they had access to them, and then like just decided to burn a bunch of it to a DVD, like in front of their superiors, which is just, I mean, pretty ballsy, I guess. But
Pretty
the point
ballsy.
is that like sometimes if you're working with computers, you might have access to stuff above your pay grade. It's possible.
Yes, it is theoretically possible.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one of those things that just glows.
Yeah. There's reasonable explanation as to why this guy might actually be guilty of leaking it, but it also could be a setup.
Yep.
We don't really know. Yeah.
And it's all the surrounding information as well. It's like the Discord server where they shared racist memes. Like, everyone knew he was weird. Like, he was fascinated by guns. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's something fishy going on. That's true.
Now let's see if my channel survives this conspiracy theory.
You're gonna get instantly banned off the internet.
I suppose the thing is, even if no matter which way it happened, this is one of those things that we are never going to be told about. Like, this is, and this will probably be completely ignored as well. Because the thing is, if what in those documents is correct, then Biden has broken God only knows how many laws, internationally and domestically. And you know that ain't gonna get covered these days.
Well, actually, one of your earlier super chats, I think it might have drifted away. It was only a $2 one. Said that
only.
the troops that
Irrelevant.
well, okay, well, hold on. I don't mean it like that, guys. What I mean is that it didn't stick around for on the top chat to be read. Like, it only scrolled away, right? But basically, it said that the types of troops that were fingered as being in Ukraine, they were actually under executive authority, not Congress.
Mm-hmm.
That was the claim by the super chat. So maybe not as many laws were broken as you thought. It's possible.
Well, let's do some super chats again. Maybe we'll find it again.
Okay.
The real whole Santa says it was a short, fat topic, referring to the Mr. Beast thing, I guess.
Yeah, there was not much to that story, to be honest.
So on actually, let's see here. What was it? Yeah, no, it seems to have basically died off the internet already. So,
What, the Mr. Beast thing?
Yeah. So, we can address it real quick for the chat, because I talked about it briefly yesterday, and I basically said that I didn't have enough info to really talk about it, and I was going to consider bringing it up today, but since you're here, like, we can briefly address it.
I just talked about I just spoke about it, so it's all fresh in my memory. Yeah.
Yep. So I saw this. So Chris Tyson responds to rumors about his gender after new Mr. Beast video. So this guy transitioned, and then some very questionable looking tweets of him popped up, apparently. And the one tweet I saw was like, nothing turns my knob or something, like lolly. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then there was a picture of him with a child. I was like, okay, that looks dubious.
Okay, so yeah, Chris Tyson, he's 26. He sent the lolly tweet when he was 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it could have just been like an edgy joke. 'Cause it was 2016, right? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
There was that one picture where he has, I think, a newborn or a 2-year-old or something. But there was a picture where the kid was crawling, on like hands and knees with the feet up in the air while the kid was crawling around the living room, and on the feet were these tiny baby heels.
Yes.
So like they're like heels, and that looks a little bit weird. That's a little bit, but I mean, it could be just a joke, but it's enough to make you like raise your eyebrows and maybe keep an eye on this guy because it's a little bit strange.
It is.
Um, but the actual core of the controversy basically is that Chris Tyson has decided to transition, and by transition I mean halfway transition, because apparently he's going non-binary, which means having both masculine and feminine components and using any and all pronouns. So not actually becoming there's no he's not a trans woman basically. You can still call him he. He just sometimes looks feminine, and dresses feminine. Well, as feminine as he can try to be, because I don't think he passes that well. But the point is that I made this point on my show a couple hours ago, is that whenever somebody is a public figure and they have a body of work that is pre-transition and then they decide to transition, their transitioning, no matter how innocuous it is, will always become a major point of public discussion, because everyone knows them as the previous person, right?
Mm-hmm. It's also the parasocial relationship that a lot of people have with public personas as well, where they build up their own
Yep.
interpretation of how that person is supposed to be. And
Mhm.
it's scientifically proven that if those expectations are betrayed, people tend to get even more upset with that than even with family members, because the relationship between YouTubers and audiences in particular is uniquely strong for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's because YouTubers are more relatable, and also there's an idea that you could also be this guy if you just posted some videos, which is kind of true.
Yeah.
Um, but like a great example is you have Elliot Page, right, who transitioned after a huge body of work as Ellen Page. Um, even people like Chris Chan, who transitioned after being well known for a long time. Compare that to someone like our friend Lilith Lovett, who transitioned at 15 or 16 and has only ever been a public figure as Lilith Lovett. It's a
Mm-hmm.
different situation because people only know her as Lilith. Nobody knows what she was like before she transitioned. So I think the reason this became a story solely is because Chris Tyson is a high profile person. He's a part of like pretty much every single Mr. Beast video. Mr. Beast has like 140 million subs or something like that. So he's well known, and he's transitioned, and so it just becomes a story. Um, there's of course the usual bouts of hypocrisy in the story. You've got like there's leftoids who a few months ago were shitting on Mr. Beast because he was curing the blind, which
Yep.
was just ridiculous. They've now turned around and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Beast, oh, this is so amazing, it's so inclusive." And it's like, okay, it's clear you're clearly just you're clearly just doing whatever. Like there's no actual underlying principles behind this. And then of course you have people on the right who have been saying things like, Mr. Beast is a channel watched by teenagers primarily, and so Chris Tyson shouldn't be promoting this degeneracy on a program that teenagers watch. But so it's one of those stories where you can almost predict what everyone's reaction is going to be before you've even seen it. You know?
Yes. And the things that I saw again that kind of got me interested, quote unquote, was the mentions of the lolly stuff and the pictures of the toddler, which, because I remember I screen capped those because I was like, okay, this is going to disappear awfully quickly, and I just looked at them in my screenshot folder and I was like, nah, let's delete this. This makes me feel uncomfortable.
Arch saves a picture of a child with heels.
Yep, I was like, yeah, I don't want, I don't want to do this. And this is not what I want to have on my hard drive.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I know a few people. There's
if
people in your chat who are also in my chat, and they're kind of saying, how is it unreasonable that teenagers shouldn't see somebody going through a transition because they're young and impressionable. This is the social contagion argument, and there's probably something to the social contagion argument. The issue ultimately, though, is, and I guess this is an argument that we also know to be true in other instances. So Arch, I'm sure you've heard this before. When a celebrity commits suicide, the rates of suicide go up because people want to follow celebrities. That's something that we know to be true. The only issue is you have to balance people consuming the kind of content they want to consume and also doing what they want to do with their lives with the effect that has on other people. Because we had this argument 10, 15 years ago over violent video games or over sexual content in video games. It's the same type of argument. These things are in media, therefore they're normalized in the people who consume that media. Well, okay. But we have to balance that with people's freedom to enjoy the kinds of media they want.
I would say that the one part of the core argument here, I would say, is that YouTube isn't television. Like there's no content warnings on any of this. So it can be difficult to make informed decisions about what kids should and shouldn't watch. Like a Mr. Beast video. Mr. Beast is the vanillaest of vanilla YouTubers. Like he is basically Oprah of the YouTube age.
Yep.
But that also comes with certain expectations. Like, because you would never see Oprah do this, like at the height of her prime, something controversial. And you don't really get told that either. So you kind of have to watch the Mr. Beast video and go like, okay, what's this person? What's his history, etc.? Could that affect my kids and so on? And I entirely get that people want to make that decision for themselves. And I find this a bit of a difficult question because I can absolutely see the argument that this could be a social contingent. Because again, the parasocial relationship between YouTubers and the audience is so much greater than anything we've seen before. Like it rivals that of close family members.
Yeah. I guess the other side of it is, well, should some authority come and force Mr. Beast to kick Chris Tyson off of his show? I don't think that's the answer.
No, I don't think that's the answer either. If anything, and the thing is too, like I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, we're probably gonna have YouTube move in and be like, you need to like content moderate your stuff into certain categories. I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's already hassle enough to be on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, okay, you think this shouldn't be happening, but then at the same time, no one likes it when a leftoid comes out and says, you have to use your platform to promote my politics. It's the moral thing to do. And we all say no to that. It's Mr. Beast's channel. He should put on it what he wants to put on it.
Yes.
And then you should not watch it if you don't want to watch it.
Yes. Like, the thing is, that would be the simple answer to, like, every single fucking censorship problem on Earth. Like, it is a wisdom as old as television. When your fucking grandmother was like, oh, if you don't want to watch it, turn it off. Like, it really is that simple, but nothing is ever that simple, is it?
Yeah. I know what you mean, because there's always people who say, well, this has, like, if people choose to, this is like people are choosing to do meth and it's destroying them. And it's like, okay, yeah. Like, there's obviously instances where you can choose something that, like, it destroys your life and it destroys the life of everyone around you and it makes your society worse. So simply saying, well, it's your choice isn't, like, the complete argument, right? No. But it seems like with media consumption, it probably is.
I think I would go with the slightly more control side. Like, as much as I shoot myself in the foot here again, the scientific evidence showing the parasocial relationship on YouTube, I think, will necessitate a higher degree of control. Because we haven't seen the first true YouTube generation of children grow up yet, so we don't know what the effect has been yet. But I know that we have a lot of effect on people. Like, you've probably seen those stats so many times, right? That back in the day, people, they asked a child what he wanted to be, and it was astronaut or firefighter or police officer. Now it's YouTuber.
Yep, I've seen those, yeah.
So we are clearly having a disproportionate effect on the young people of today.
Yeah.
Well, neither of us is really a child channel.
No. I mean, I do have some, like, 20-somethings that watch me, but no teenagers.
Basically children, yes.
Yeah. You know what? The people who want to be YouTubers now or like influencers or whatever, they're not watching us. Yeah. They're watching people like Sneeko.
Yes.
or they're watching people like what's his name, Aiden Ross. These people who are like in their early to mid 20s, who are doing more short form like TikTok style content, who and whose content revolves less around like playing video games or discussing political issues, but theirs is more about like I don't know, glorifying a certain type of party boy lifestyle.
Well,
And
it is the normie thing, and the normie
mhm,
thing changes over time as well. Because our generation's normie thing was like PewDiePie, right?
yeah,
This
yeah.
generation's normie thing is more Mr. Beast, and because you can kind of divide this into the YouTube generations again, can't you?
Hmm.
But as you say too, it's the glorification of a certain lifestyle, where you're talking about what you're doing, how cool it is, etc. It's also a great part of the reason why Andrew Tate became as popular as he did.
How do you mean? I don't follow that connection. How do you mean?
Oh no, he is selling something that nobody else is.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
He is
yeah, yeah.
selling the dream of this lifestyle. Like, look at me. I live in a compound in Romania with 16 sport cars, and I literally run like a brothel, and I have sex with like 7 women a day. Like, that is selling the idea of that lifestyle. And
Mhm,
to
yeah.
teenage boys, that must sound awesome. You're 13 years old. Like, yeah, I want a sports car and 5 wives too.
I guess the issue is like what kind of person you have, not just in terms of what kind of person Andrew Tate is, because he's a pretty terrible person, but like what kind of person you have to be to make a channel like that. I've heard it described as being content brained, where the idea is, oh, I just bought a new TV. Most normal people will buy the TV and hook it up and enjoy their TV. But content brained people will do an unboxing of the TV and a review of the TV. And basically everything that happens in their normal life has to be turned into content to be put online so that somebody else can watch it and consume it. And they never have like a moment where there's like, hey, maybe I should just have this moment and it's a private moment and it will basically it will disappear in with time and only those who are there will remember it and it'll just be for us to enjoy. And it seems
Mhm.
like what comes with being somebody who is content brained is that there is no real privacy. There is no real turning it off.
Yeah, potentially. There is also very much so a cynical sales thing part of this as well here,
Hmm.
because we this is an interesting little fucking thing, right? We have never lived in a faker time than now. Like, it never before in history have we looked at so many influencers, the celebrity of our times, and thought of them as so real, and yet they've been so fake. Like, Instagram, for example, all of the Instagram models, all of them looking perfect, all of them going on super vacations all the time, and their lives look like a dream roller coaster.
Hmm.
98% of it is fabricated nonsense.
Yep. A lot of
And
it will be like fights they're having in the background with their partners or like jealousy because like it's a hot girl with a boyfriend who gets jealous because there's like constant simps around or like people who are in poverty just taking out loans to try to live the Instagram lifestyle. Like there's lots of a lot of it's just fake.
yes. And yet it appears real. Because again, you have this far closer connection to these people than you had to the celebrities of old. Like, John Wayne was never a guy in the neighborhood, he was always the silver screen superstar. He existed as something outside of the normal world, kind of.
Hmm.
And it kind of worked as well with the superstars of the 90s as well, like Will Smith, etc. Although even then you're starting to get a little bit closer to the populace, shall we say. And now the lines are almost completely blurred to the point where people believe that this is a lifestyle they could and should have themselves also. And very rarely do they stop to take into consideration that they're actually being sold something. Now, this is in part life experience, right? Because a 16-year-old sees their favorite fashion blogger talk about a purse, and they're like, "Wow, well, this person values me, and they like me. They'd never lie to me." Meanwhile, that's a $2,000 sponsorship right there.
Yep. Yep. I think a lot of that will be, you have a few life experiences and then you realize, oh, I actually want, a normal relationship and kind of a normal life. It
Mhm.
sounds mundane and there's certainly some boring and bad parts of it, but it's also kind of nice too.
This is
Just like have a
also
day
then
off.
kind of leads us back to the conversation. Now I've built up my point
Mhm.
that I do believe that we are going to have to put some sort of content moderation system in place for YouTube and influencers and etc. Because I do believe we have far more influence than the celebrities that preceded us. And hell, I'm not even talking about us, really. Well, I kind of am. I mean, neither of us are small channels at this point, but we're not million subscriber channels either, you get it? So maybe some kind of like bracketing, for example. Like if you've got 10 million subscribers and most of them happen to be like 18 or younger, maybe you should be made to take a little bit more responsibility for the content you put up, at least when it comes to content advisories. Who knows? I don't even know what a system like that would look like, frankly. I'm just spitballing.
I know what you mean. I think there's two problems with that. I mean, one, the ever-present question is who gets to decide.
Yep.
That's always a problem. And two is that now that other alternatives are actually making themselves known and growing, if YouTube regulates too much, they're just going to lose people because Rumble is blowing up right now. Kick is blowing up right now as a Twitch alternative. You know, people are like, I know everyone was talking about like BitChute. BitChute's still doing okay, and like DLive, and DLive just died. But like, there truly are other services now that are growing. You know, when you have like a big name stream on Kick or Rumble, you get like an Aiden Ross or a Sneeko or a Destiny. You know, guys like this who are streaming on these alternative sites. They still get like 10,000 viewers a stream, even though they're not on Twitch and they're not on YouTube. So now that other sites are actually sprouting up to the point that it's viable to just live off you could be a Rumbler or a Kicker and not be a YouTuber now. I feel like if YouTube tries to regulate things now, they will just drive people away.
Very possible. You could also go the alternative route and basically say that this isn't a corporation or a government problem. This is a parent problem, which I'm very sympathetic to. And instead give parents tools to deal with this. Like, okay, you've got a YouTube family account or something that you can set up on your PC where you can only access the channels that the parents have decided you can access, for example.
Yep. That's going to involve kids getting involved, though, when parents getting involved, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that is one of the key issues, isn't it? Like, because I read an article a while ago. It was one of those Lolly is totally pedophilia article thingies.
Oh God, did you hear about me getting canceled for that recently? I'll tell you about it after if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you. That'll be the next story. Go ahead with the article.
The gist of the article was that there was a little girl, and she was like 9 or something, and she'd been handed her parents' iPhone, and then she was scrolling through the internet for Elsa and Frozen memes or whatever, because that's what the kids were into. Yeah. And then she came across a BDSM video, and she clicked it, and she was scarred forever. Except that never happened because that was a made-up example, which they wrote in tiny little letters on the top of it, like, this girl is a fictional character, but we believe this could happen, so censor the internet.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the problem, too.
It could happen, yeah.
It could happen, but the solution to this problem isn't censor the internet, it's don't give your fucking child an iPad and just be like, yeah, watch whatever.
Yep.
Because it's the internet.
You're not gonna get parents to agree to that.
Yeah,
it's just not gonna happen.
We do need to move more responsibility over to the parents again, in my opinion.
So what it's gonna be is basically people who are my age are becoming parents now, because I'm in like my mid-30s. So people who are my age are becoming parents. Millennials tended to wait, like didn't have kids in their mid-20s or having kids in their mid-30s. So millennials like me remember what the internet was. You know, back when they were in high school, and what it was back then, this was pre-social media. It was decentralized websites you can get like information on, and it was like ICQ and it was IRC chats if you were a real nerd. So the internet was not the place that it is now. So if you're telling like your average kind of normie unplugged millennial that the internet is poisoning their child's mind, they're going to be like, what? What do you mean? It's just a place for funny cat memes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to get it.
Yep. No, I very much so see that. It's a genuinely difficult question, and none of this has anything to do with the original shit we were talking about.
Which is Chris Tyson.
Yep. Well, so that was a nothing burger, but hey, it span off to an interesting secondary discussion, so time well spent in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my canceling though. So let's see here. What was the conversation? Okay, hold on. I need to give you a little bit of context. You could read super chats for a minute while I grab it.
All right, where did I put the super chat window? So John says all troons should be introduced to the spicy knot. Cruel and unusual, but it includes bestiality. So I guess we'll have to accept it since Dev is here today and he's a big fan.
Am I? I'm not a white woman.
Holsteiner says, also, did you know that Patreon will let me support you and access your premium content even if my card has expired? Don't worry, I'll update it, lol. Well, I'm sure it will, yeah, no, but because it's like the credit card companies and Patreon and stuff, I'm sure there's all kind of stupid shit there. V Flat Desk Pepsi says, Dev, ask Arch if AI can create new things. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, it kind of can, can't it?
No,
if you
no,
take like, sure it can, and I'll tell you exactly why. So, when you take somebody else's content on YouTube and you add your own commentary, it becomes a new thing. That's what transformative use is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what AI does. It takes something that somebody else has made and makes it into something new.
Except what AI does isn't that. It takes one YouTube video, and then it takes a second YouTube video, and then it clashes those two YouTube videos together.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but that's not creating a new thing. That's taking two things that exist and then smashing them together.
Well, okay. When Sargon took Aquila Obviously's video and didn't add any of his own commentary, he only just recut it. He didn't add any new content, but it was ruled to be its own thing because of it was presented the way that it was cut and presented, right?
Mm-hmm. That wasn't him smashing two things together, though. That was him being like, okay, I see this thing. I am going to additively change this thing in order to make my point.
So your idea basically is that AI cannot actually use a bunch of stuff that's already been created in a way to make a new thing? AI can't do that?
Yes, because the AI can only use things that already exist and combine them to make a thing.
I don't know. I have to think about it.
Primark Mustard says, with China seemingly gearing up for a war with Taiwan, I've also noted that they've also been having increasingly violent border skirmishes with India. What would a conventional war between the two look like, and would you be interested in doing a video on it? Between China and Taiwan? Oh, bloody. Simple as. Doing a video on it. Probably not in the immediate future, but it would be awful. Like, it would be incredibly awful. And honestly, I don't think either side will want to do much of anything. Because attacking through that kind of terrain up in those awful goddamn mountains there is going to cost so many casualties. And it's probably not going to result in anything. Because, like, you take the World War I fighting on the border between Italy and Austria, and then you make the artillery 1,000 times more accurate, and you've got a rough idea of what fighting on the India-China border region would be like. It'd be terrible. Absolutely ridiculously terrible. But China is gearing up to play with Taiwan. That war is going to happen in our lifetime. I can practically guarantee it. In fact, I would say it's probably going to happen in the next 5 years, maybe 10, but probably not.
What was that cable cutting that was happening? Do you remember hearing about that?
Oh, that was America.
Well, no. When the Chinese were cutting internet cables that were leading to Taiwan under the water.
Oh, that was China. That was an accident, as they call it.
Oh, it was an accident. Okay.
Yeah, of course they did it, but it's the same like the pipeline cutting from Russia to Germany. Everyone knows it was the Americans, but nobody can really prove it, and even if they could, nobody's really, interested in proving it. That was another thing the leaks showed too, that the US thinks Taiwan is very vulnerable to Chinese air attacks. Now, never take any of these reports at face value, because this is almost universally the army going, we need more money. How can we make people give us more money?
Yeah.
But I did do a video on the China-Taiwan invasion. I think China could pull it off. It'd be bloody as fuck, but I think they could pull it off. But they need to do it soon, because if Taiwan starts getting large new shipments of F-16s and M1 Abrams, then they might not. Like they got to do it in the next 5 to 10 years, and I think they're preparing to do it too. In fact, I think the U.S. made an enormous mistake during these exercises, because they sent the Nimitz out to sea to square off against the Chinese little tiny retard carrier, the Shaodong. That is an awful mistake, because the Chinese want to know where the Nimitz is so they can try to fucking sink it. That's why the previous administration, every administration before that, kept the position of the aircraft carrier stationed in Japan as secret as possible, to prevent the Chinese from trying to sink it. Because if the Nimitz sinks, the US is going to have zero air support in the area beyond Japan, which is a mess in and of itself, for probably a week, maybe more. So that was a terrible idea. Absolutely fucking stupid. Did you find your pro-pedophilia argument yet, Dev?
I think I did.
Oh, good.
So let me show. Fuck you. Let me show you what I got canceled for. At least what started it. Okay. Check that out. Where I said, leftoids want you to believe that these two pictures are equivalent. They aren't. One is a movement to stop the state from treating normal people unjustly. The other is a movement for people to act degenerate in front of kids, and you're a bigot if you have objections. And
Yep.
the second tweet is, look at how there's an American flag at old Pride events. Look at how people are overwhelmingly dressed up in normal, non-kink attire. Look at how children are not being normalized to interacting with the fetishes of adults. So I am very much somebody who this will make, some people who are very far right wing view me as a left winger, and that's fine. But I'm definitely on the pro gay marriage side of the argument, on the pro just let gay people live regular lives and stop bothering them side of the argument. And just don't do the weird kink shit in public. Like just keep that in your private life. So this tweet got some traction. There's a bunch of leftoids that got angry at me. And then let me just find it here. At some point, I had posted this image. And you can see several different iterations of this image where it's got, like, the original image was KKK people saying, we want to kill black people, and then just random people saying, don't kill us. And then the fallacy of the centrist who wants to only kill half of them. Well, that comic has been endlessly respun into variants of both sides being crazy and the centrists saying you're both crazy. In some reply at some point, I decided to use this one. You have like radical centrism. You have the Nazis who are dressed in KKK hoods. You have the communists who are dressed in like weird fetish gear. And you have the radical centrists aiming the guns at both of them. Well, as soon as I posted this, a shit ton of people jumped down my throat to let me know that this drawing, I don't know if you know where it comes from, Arch, but it's like a crop of a huge anti-Semitic piece of propaganda made by neo-Nazis. Because there's a giant spider that has it has a giant Jewish face and the Star of David on his forehead, and there's all these tentacles going into all the people in the crowd who are all doing a bunch of weird things. And there's gang members in there, and there's people like groping children in there, and there's drug users, and then there's also, people dressed up in fetish costumes. So somebody took the corner of the Nazi propaganda and photoshopped it into this radical centrism meme, and now it's been shared around the internet like crazy because that's how these things work. So someone was trying to say, Dev, you're a Nazi because you posted this meme that somebody else made that used a corner of a Nazi propaganda piece where the actual like anti-Semitic content had been taken out of the piece. And so I replied, let me just show you here. Come on, internet. Here we go. I'll give you this, Arch. I replied with this, where I said, I'm actually correct here. the whole a Nazi drew it thing takes a back seat to the fact that the drawing seems to accurately represent real life. Perhaps you should not have become what the Nazis caricatured you as if you didn't want them to be accurate.
I mean,
Which
that's
is,
true, yes.
it's a pretty spicy take. But it is a true take. There are respectable gay people who don't do shit like this. You might not like Pete Buttigieg's politics, but he doesn't do this shit. He just gets on with his life. He has a partner. I think he's gay married. He wears his suit. He does his job. Like you don't catch him doing shit like this in public, right?
Uh-huh.
And so there's clearly a divide between what leftoids call assimilationist queers, who are reinforcing the cis heteronormative capitalist patriarchy by basically living normal lives, and revolutionary queers who want to act as publicly degenerate as possible as a way of subverting our liberal society. Um, so this take where I said, yeah, a Nazi might have drawn it, but in this case, it actually seems to be accurate to real life. That blew up really, really far. as it would, if you're on Twitter. A lot of people got angry at me for that. And then they dug up. It was fucking Lance from the Surfs, Jangles, Science Lad, and then Merrick. All three of them are like left wing crumb tubers, and they dug up the fact that I like anime games and I like anime, and there's always like girls in anime who are like 16 or 17 years old and they're like sexualized, and they're like, Dev, you're obviously a pedophile. You're obviously a pedophile because of this. And so let me just find the next tweet in the chain. I gave a take. Let me just find it here. Jesus Christ. Nope. God damn it.
Dev looks through his voluminous content of pro-Nazi propaganda.
So I said, yeah. So here's the next tweet, and because Adam and Sitch jumped in to be like, you guys are acting retarded, and I said, Lolly is very fucking weird. If you're jacking off to Lolly, you're a weirdo. But there's no real kid being harmed there. It's a drawing. Freedom of speech includes things that I find to be very weird. We've exchanged Christian pearl clutchers with soy-faced Puritans.
We have.
We have, yes. And then so basically they just went over and over and over trying to hit me with the Dev is pro-Nazi and pro pedophile because he supports the existence, not really supports, I'm just kind of neutral to it, the existence of lolly drawings. And then what basically ended the whole thing was this. When I dug up the fact that all of the people who have been going hard on me for the past day or two have also been hyper supportive of Chris from the Mr. Beast drama that we just talked about, even though they know and they've all kind of basically brushed aside the fact that he has those lolly tweets.
That bitch looks good for a 4-year-old, right? Okie dokie.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
enough internet
So-
for today.
Yep. The difference between us is that I just said lolly isn't weird, but no actual child is harmed, so it shouldn't be banned. That's being a free speech fan. While all of you brainlets have been tripping over each other to virtue signal support for an actual fan of lolly. Yeah. Oh, look, it's Lance and Merrick sewing out over a lolicon. These people don't actually give a fuck about children. LOL. A lolly enjoyer is acceptable to them if the lolly enjoyer in question is going viral for a high profile transitioning. No morals, only politics. And
Yeah.
this is basically the end of the drama. That like this pretty much decisively blew them all out, and they're all leaving me alone now. But yeah, there was like there was a full day and a half there where the entirety of lefty Twitter was coming down on me for these takes. It was a fun time. I kind of enjoy it. I enjoy rolling in the mud sometimes.
For once, I think Dev was actually correct here. This doesn't happen often, but he seems to have done nothing wrong in this case.
Oh god, €10. Dev not bring up Twitter bullshit for half an hour challenge impossible.
That is true. Like, most of the messages I get from Dev is either Twitter bullshit or Scrump is yelling at him again.
Hold on, that doesn't happen that often anymore.
I don't know about that.
He just resurfaces once a month or so to just into the void
It's
sometimes.
pretty fucking often, though.
Well, I guess once a month is kind of often, yeah. Oh well.
But
well,
no,
it's kind of strange that like I don't really talk about him anymore, but he seems to still talk about me. So, okay.
The thing I say that differentiates the whole lolly thing is one, they're drawings.
Yep.
I don't care. Like you can't mentally abuse a drawing. You can't hurt it. There's nothing you can do to the drawing that will negatively affect it in any way. I do get that people get like weird feelings about it because I'm a defender of lolly because I like Japanese shit. I like anime and manga and they're everywhere. I'm like, okay, cute. But have you seen like AI generated lolly, like realistic lolly?
No, I have not.
That shit freaks me out. Like, that gives me that creepy heebie-jeebies feeling. And I'm like, well, it's literally just pixels, but I hate it. Because it's like, it's too realistic, and you can... And that's why I get why people react the way they do. And I think it's entirely fine that they react the way they do. I just don't want to see it banned, because I think that's retarded.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of the debate that Lilith and I had. You know, should you ban AI generated child porn?
I see. Again, if I was to remain consistent with my previous stance, no. But again, I've seen that shit, and I hate it. It makes me physically uncomfortable. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's
also,
difficult.
you can make. Well, we just had the AI conversation how AIs don't actually create anything new, right? But in your opinion, so you could make the argument that because AIs don't create anything new, it has to use actual child porn to make those images.
Thank you, Dev. I hadn't thought that far ahead.
Well, there you go.
Great.
Sorry. I guess the other conversation is then like, okay, you know, would you ban a child sex doll? Because
no, but I would argue the medical needs for that, because my line of logic is simple. Like, if you are a person who has the mental illness, and I do consider it a mental illness, of like being attracted to children, then I would much rather you have sex with a silicon doll and get the sexual frustration out of the way instead of letting that build, because we men are literally programmed to want to bang shit. Like, that's how we're created. So if he wants to fuck plastic instead, then by all means.
Yeah, but good luck getting people to agree to that. That's going to be a hard sell. You know,
Yeah,
a realistic looking child sex doll. It's like, good luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's the conversation at that point.
Did you hear about that one woman who had some sort of physiological problem where she basically didn't age past the age of like 12, and she was 27. She was constantly getting carded and stuff.
Yes,
and
I did see that.
The only guys who were interested in her were like weirdos.
Yep.
And it's like, man, it's gotta be rough for her too.
I also did see some brainlet take that if a girl or a woman is shorter than 5'4" or something, that's basically pedo bait.
Oh yeah, that's the coding argument. Yep. Okay, so I don't know if this exists. I don't think this exists outside of certain left-wing spaces. But the idea basically is that the actual age or the actual sex or whatever of a thing doesn't matter. What matters is their coding. What matters is how they look. So this is if a trans woman looks like a woman to you, then she's a woman. Okay, I get it. But then it's like, well, if a person looks like they're 12 years old to you, then they're 12. And so if you like them, you're a pedophile. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, you know?
Yes.
Now, of course,
the big own was that the majority of women are actually shorter than 5'4".
Yes, they are. Yeah. I mean, Naomi's like 5'0" or 5'1" or something. So she's short. Well, I also thought about this for a bit, and I guess it's kind of self-serving because when I was in university, I dated an Asian girl who was like I think 4'11". She was like 95 pounds. She looked 16, but she was actually like 22. And I got a few weird stares going on dates with her. And it was like, well, I'm I'm attracted to her because we're dating, but I'm not a pedophile. I'm not attracted to her because I think she's 16. You know, it was there's I guess there's a strange conversation to be had when you start dealing with people who are who look young. There's like there's some porn actresses who are like really tiny or really short, and people always get in their on their cases about it. I don't know if you recall, but Australia banned porn that stars adult flat chested women because it promotes pedophilia. Like
Adult
you can go
flat
way
chested
too.
engine.
Yeah, so if you're like 25 and you don't you have like a flat chest, you can't be in porn in Australia because it's child porn by their law.
So, I'm a pinch hesitant to to share this article, as the title
Okay.
of the page is Small Choice.
Okay.
But this is 5'4" tall man is often mistaken as the father of his 3'10" tall girlfriend.
Wow. Yeah, she's actually like full goblin mode.
Yeah, that's she is not very tall. So yeah, there you have it, I guess. The pedo debate grows weirder every day.
Yeah.
And this is but the most recent chapter. You know what? You know what, Dev? I would like a new topic.
Okay, what's that? What's the new topic?
I would like a new topic now. Let's,
Well,
okay.
Kibbs expects us in 40 minutes for Barotron.
Kibbs is a different case. Well, let's address that whole DOJ wants to look into Warner Brothers Discovery merger thing that the Super Chat mentioned.
Okay.
So what appears to be happening here is that politicians of a certain bend wants the DOJ to investigate Warner Brothers, claiming it harmed workers and reduced content choice because they axed Batgirl. And I give you one guess as to which side of the American political divide these came from.
I'm gonna assume it's Democratic, right?
Yes.
More regulation, axing Batgirl, one of the worst shows of recent history.
Yep. What was it? What was it? Yeah, here we go. General Merrick Garland, DOJ antitrust chief Jonathan Carter, wrote in a letter that DOJ merger appeared to have enabled the company to adopt potentially anti-competitive practices that reduce consumer choice and harm workers in affected labor markets. I don't know how axing Batgirl managed to do that, but that is the allegation.
Oh, Elizabeth Warren was in on it too.
Yeah, it's it's a weird thing, but apparently they seem to be arguing basically that this is anti-diversity, and since it's anti-diversity, it's giving the company an unfair competitive edge.
Really?
Well, it seems to be the argument. Like they're making anti-competitive actions by reducing the diversity of their lineup.
Let's see here. Hold on. The company has the incentive and ability to eliminate broad swaths of its workforce, leaving workers with fewer choices for employment and advancement. They cited layoffs over the past year, including the shutdown of CNN Plus. Arguing that the merger has led to the hollowing out of an iconic American studio, the lawmakers also cited the cancellation of projects and the removal of content from the HBO Max platform. They wrote that audiences will never see such projects like Batgirl, a $90 million film that was canceled while deep into post-production, despite consumer outcry, reportedly to allow WBD to claim a tax break.
Reportedly.
Apparently the movie was not releasable, according to the new co-chairman.
Like, having seen the little bits we have seen from it, it looked like a absolute disaster. And like, because Warner Brothers Discovery is in a very weird position right now, where they're making several very anti-diversity moves, and yet they're also kind of tied up in like the backlog of wokeist nonsense that's already in the pipeline.
To be honest, I don't really watch Cape shit anymore. I checked out of that a long time ago. I I saw the rating on the wall on that one. I was like, nope, nope, not watching any of this, any more stuff like this. I
Mhm.
pieced out. It seems like I've missed some fun stuff though, because I heard that She-Hulk was really bad but really funny.
She-Hulk was apparently really bad, yes.
Yeah. Not really funny though.
Not really funny, though. No.
That's a shame. See, I actually like watching this trash sometimes at least, because it can be like it can be pretty funny at how dumb it gets. But I know that Arch, you and I we've sometimes disagreed on the get woke go broke question, where I think it's not as ironclad a rule as a lot of other people think that it is.
But we haven't
Um,
disagreed on that.
but I thought we had.
No.
I made a video asking if it was real, and I said it's not, like it's not set in stone. There are definitely companies that have went woke and made money. You know.
Yeah, like my position is that it is a rule of thumb in that it probably will not earn a lot of cash. But it's not a nothing is ever set in complete stone. But it's also the fact that a lot of this is not them earning money. It is them simply gaining the financial benefits of having produced it via, for example, investment money pouring back into them too.
Yeah,
This is one
yeah.
of the
If you can,
reasons why that companies now are beginning to pivot a bit more away from the woke stuff. Because before, even if you made something that didn't necessarily sell, so long as you ticked enough ESG boxes, you were likely to get your investor money back again.
yeah, like it's entirely possible to set up set up a company where you have like a few shows or a few things that are just there to tick the ESG boxes to get your next round of investment, and those shows just flounder and no one cares. But then
Mhm.
the other shows are actually good. You could set it up like that.
There are some good woke shows too. They are rare and few and far between, but I've heard the latest season of Picard was actually okay.
So I've been watching it, and seasons 1 and 2 were probably the worst TV I've ever seen in my entire life, bar
I
none.
tried to
Uh,
watch part of season one because I was never into Star Trek, and so I was like, okay,
mhm,
Picard, the iconic captain. So I sat down and I watched it, and I couldn't get through episode one. I was like, what the
yeah,
fuck is this?
yeah. It was. I watched it. I watched the whole thing. It was really, really bad. It was the worst TV I've ever seen. But season 3, all right, season 3 has basically been some of the best that new Trek has had to offer. In that, it's jumped up from being the worst TV ever up to about the quality of a really bad Voyager episode.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an improvement.
It's something, and these days,
It's
something
something.
is almost enough.
Yep, yep. Like I am a diehard Trek fan. I've watched all of it. I've even watched all the new stuff. And like Picard is the worst TV I've ever seen. Discovery ranged from really bad to like mediocre. Um, Lower Decks is funny for what it is. It's a comedy show. I can
Oh
laugh
god, I
at that kind
hated
of
that.
comedy show.
I
I didn't
tried
mind it.
watching a couple episodes. I fucking loathed that one.
I like that kind of comedy, so I was okay with it. I liked all the references, all the memory barriers that are in there for fans like me, so I was okay with it. Um, Strange New Worlds has probably been the best new Trek's been,
Yes,
because
Strange New World was okay.
it was actually a Star Trek show with, they go to a planet every episode, they solve a problem,
Yep.
they leave.
It
Like it
was
was
a
pretty
lot
good.
of it was really basic bit shit in my opinion. Like a lot of them were simple moral conundrums.
Hmm.
But again, like okay, fair enough. It's not Shakespeare, but it's there. It has flashing lights. It at least tries to be interesting. Like good enough, good enough.
Yep. It's kind of strange. I've heard it said that people who do deconstructing all the time, they don't understand the point. You got all these communist revolutionaries who want to deconstruct the gender binary, deconstruct capitalism. The point of deconstruction is that you take something apart so that you can see how it works, gain a bunch of new knowledge, and then build something new that is good. All right? But all of these people, they deconstruct and then stop. They never actually build a new good show out of it. Meanwhile, you could actually look at like Strange New Worlds, where they've clearly taken some cues from modern Trek, but they've also understood what works from the old show and kept it. And that's what a lot of writers just don't get. There's like we're gonna subvert expectations. We're gonna deconstruct what Star Trek used to be, or what Star Wars used to be, or whatever used to be. We're gonna make fans. We're gonna tell our own new stories for updated for a new audience. And it's like, listen, you have to understand what worked about those old things and bring them forward. You can't just leave them behind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and also the chat's asking, yeah, the Orville was pretty good.
The Orville was pretty good, yes. And see, that's the thing too. Okay, let's we've got a couple more topics. Well, Kyle's gonna have to fucking wait. But we've got a couple more things that kind of dovetails into this. So there has been the announcement that they are making a Harry Potter TV series.
Yes.
And that was goddamn inevitable. That was as inevitable as rainy skies, like rain from a cloudy sky, because, of course, Hogwarts Legacy did amazing. It did incredibly well. And that
Did you
proves
finish that game, by the way?
Oh, God, no. It's far too... Like, it's a competent game, but it's not for me, because I'm not a big Harry Potter fan.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I am a big Harry Potter fan, but I've gotten to the point in the game where it wants me to spend more time outside the school than I really want to. Now it's like, go out into the wilderness beyond Hogwarts, and it's like, I don't want to, though. I want to go to class. I want to be in the school. That's what I bought the game for.
I was kind of disappointed by the fact that there wasn't really much of a simulation of the school life. It's just it's an adventure RPG, which is fine, but
Yeah, but they should have done like a Persona type thing where you actually have classes to go to and like events and like a timer.
Yes, I would like that.
Done. Yeah.
But this is, of course, upset a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Especially as J.K. Rowling has also been given, I think, executive control or something over this too. So she is going to be heavily involved with this, unlike Hogwarts Legacy. So, the new Satan of the Left herself is in direct charge here.
Yep. So one thing I've looked into is that apparently Hogwarts Legacy is canon to the books. And so basically J.K. Rowling considers it to be a canon story that actually happened in the original story, in the original lore of the Harry Potter books. Whatever happened in Hogwarts Legacy happened. So this new show can reference Hogwarts Legacy. And in fact, I think I've even heard that that Hogwarts Legacy might be getting its own show as well. Like they're gonna turn the game into a show.
Why not? So, it was a huge success.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they're gonna do like a Harry Potter extended universe or some shit. I know they tried with like the Fantastic Beasts movies, but those don't really.
Yeah, those because they have nothing to do with Harry Potter, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. So Harry Potter is this great hero's journey story, but once you take that out of it, it's the actual lore and the magic is all just kind of samey. You know?
Yeah, like the actual world is not that interesting. Certainly not interesting enough to carry an entire series.
Mm-hmm.
But
they had to do something
this
more
has got
with it. Didn't
all of the usual suspects reading pretty hard.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna assume 7 or 8 seasons because it's 7. There's 7 books, but the last one was split into 2 for the movies, but it might just be 7 seasons, whatever. If they're doing one a year, that allows the actors to age up with the parts. I'm gonna assume that Ron's gonna be black because he's a ginger.
Probably.
Kind of makes sense.
Hermione's Hermione is probably gonna be a man. I think I want Hermione to be a man, just for fun and giggles.
Oh, okay. Well, I recall that J.K. Rowling insisted that everyone be born in the UK
for the movies. Yes,
for the movies. Yeah, you think she's gonna be able to do that for this?
No,
they'll have to be like born in the UK.
I think the age has moved on, but there's also the possibility that Rowling has been radicalized a little bit as well in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because she has ran into the trans version of her movement repeatedly, and they hate her guts. So she might very well just try to piss them off too, as well. But I don't know. Like the thing is, in her own twisted way, J.K. Rowling is actually a bit of a staunch traditionalist. She just is of the opinion that women should be given way more power in that traditionalist society. Because she's not against, like, gendered spaces, or women's only clubs, or any of these things. She just doesn't want men to have any of them.
Oh man. I've seen some very, very right-wing people. I know that people consider you to be like far right in some spaces, Arch, but like you're not. People who are actually far right, they've been saying stuff like the the turfs, once the center's greatest enemy, are now going to be brought into like the modern right wing movement, and basically this is how the right wingers are destroyed, as as culture shifts more leftward. The elements like J.K. Rowling, who are considered to be like super left wing, are now considered to be like the heart of the right, and how this basically this is signing the end for the legitimate right wing of politics in Western society. So even right wingers do not like the fact that this is happening. That like turfs are now on the right, apparently.
The thing is,
Um,
I can see the point of view. But again, I would actually argue that J.K. Rowling is a rather staunch traditionalist in many ways. It is just that she is a supremacist for her side. And honestly, that has just been literally like the status quo of modern politics now for the last like 200 years, honestly.
it's
Because
like just things slowly moving leftward.
well, no, it's the women's work will never be done. That thing. Like, that is just the constant back drone of modern civilization. Because
Okay.
they never have their rights. There's always like, oh, they don't have, what is it called? Reproductive rights, unless they can have an abortion whenever they want. And that was never the point initially, the point initially was, okay, let's give us the vote. And it's like, okay, but now we want the vote, and we don't want to do the things that you do to have the vote, like military service. And some of them even wish to get into the military service and then wish to get back out of it. It's just a constant struggle, honestly, between the male parts and the feminist parts of our society these days. And honestly, that has always been there. If we could return to that, like it was, because this bit was in the 90s, the 80s, the 2000s, it's actually rather traditionalist. If anything, I feel like both parties are looking at the left now, like, could you not butt into our centuries-long fucking war, please?
Yeah, maybe. I know some people look at this sort of thing as like an inevitable slippery slope, right? That because we gave women the vote, everything else that followed happened, and so we should take all of it away, including giving women the vote. We should take the vote away from women. And I think that's kind of I never really found slippery slopes to be that persuasive of an argument. I think you can do A without doing B. I think it's possible. If I can do it, surely everyone else can. If I can think, hey, we can have gay marriage, that's A. And then there's people who want to fuck children, that's B. We can do A without B, surely. There doesn't need to be this essential sliding towards the complete destruction of everything.
I think the slippery slope is it is a truism for the left. And I'm talking about the progressive left here, because there's always another goal. Because progress can never stop, and so the slippery slope is literally baked into their very ideology. But that is why we have the other part of society whose job it is to go like, no, we're not going to fuck the children. Please stop.
Yep. But see, Arch, that's why I'm not actually a leftist.
I don't know about that.
I just proved it.
I don't know about that.
Because I'm not going down the slippery slope.
I don't know about that. There was one article I found, because there was all... Okay, one of the articles... There we go. Oh, we'll use a third-party link, so as not give them any more traction, of course. Don't watch the Harry Potter reboot, it starts with here, because they want this to fail. HBO has just confirmed that it will be rebooting the Harry Potter universe into a decade-long television series with 7 seasons, 1 for each books. I can see a universe where this makes money, but I'm not sure it's this one. What the fuck are you smoking?
Yeah, see, if a bunch of let's say trans activists scream on Twitter about this, and they will, this show will make money.
Yeah, like we have scientifically proven now, the louder you yell, the more money it'll earn. Not to mention, Harry Potter, it is still one of the largest goddamn entertainment entities on the globe. Of course this is going to make money. Hand over fist. With both the current entertainment climate and Rowling's outspoken stance on trans rights, yeah, that will be the reason why it earns money. It's like they didn't learn anything from Hogwarts Legacy, and they just kind of just memory hold that and moved on.
Yeah. So I recall like talking to Lilith about Hogwarts Legacy. I was like, listen, are you going to play it? Because I know like, she's trans and she's definitely more to the left than I am, but she's also not like hyper insane most of the time. She's generally pretty real. Everyone has their blind spots. I know hers very well. But I asked her like, hey, like what do you think about Hogwarts Legacy? And she's like, yeah, people are being ridiculous about this. Like obviously streamers shouldn't be harassed. Obviously you should buy it if you want. She says that she doesn't even have a PlayStation 5, so she's not going to play it because her computer won't run it, I don't think, and she doesn't have a PS5. But she basically said that she'll probably play it someday because she likes Harry Potter. She's just not going to do it right now, and also that it's completely fine to just turn your brain off and enjoy something. Like even if you're like a left wing person who likes Harry Potter, okay, you don't got to agree with her politics. You can still just have fun with the game. Like not everything has to be a constant fucking war. And that was her take. And I was like, that's a pretty reasonable take,
And the cope continues. The movies are still firmly lodged in the public consciousness to the point where TV series feels unnecessary. So the first Harry Potter movie came out 22 years ago. And by the time this gets off the ground, it's going to be like 23, 24 years ago.
Wasn't it more than that, actually? Hold on.
2001.
I thought it was 1999.
Oh, God, no. But, like, is it firmly lodged in public consciousness? Yeah, sure, to a degree, but
oh, you're right.
We're remastering shit that's, like, 2-3 years old. Like, there is no way... It is plenty time between these two properties. No issues.
Yeah. There's, like, a reboot of Batman every 6 fucking months now.
Yes. And to the point where TV series are unnecessary. At least the Rings of Power did something different. Oh, yeah, how did that work out, Dev?
It was pretty bad.
Yes, it was really bad.
Arch, do you want to watch Harry Potter when it comes out? You want to do another one of those watch parties?
Sure, when that comes out, yeah, sure. And
fun.
even then, its huge IP couldn't save it. No, that's the thing. The sheer cope of this, like, oh, Lord of the Rings is really big. Why did it fail? Because it did something different. That's why. It wasn't Lord of the Rings. So, of course, the IP matters not. In fact, the IP was counteracting the success of the series.
Well, it's not just that it did something different, it's that it did something bad.
Yes.
You can do something different. Like, I think you and I, Arch, we had this conversation where the idea of Sauron seducing Galadriel, that's something different. They just did it really, really badly.
Mm-hmm.
They could have actually done that story, a different story, very well. And I could see, like, the glimmer of how it could have been good in there.
Yep. And then there's the rocky track record. Harry Potter still sells well when it comes to pencil case and Lego sets. Like, and I love to, like, they start, oh, this couldn't sell. And it's like, yeah, it's still selling. Like, 20 years later. Mm-hmm. But the big projects aren't hitting. Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint have all publicly defended trans rights. Why does that matter? Implicitly criticizing Rowling. Well, Fantastic Beasts flopped hard enough that at least two planned movies Wrigley shelled. Yeah, because the Fantastic Beasts weren't Harry Potter. Like, the entire article is just the hardest cope and see that I have ever seen. It's like, please don't be good. Please don't watch it, because if you do, our entire position falls apart somehow.
So here's the issue with Fantastic Beasts, okay? There actually is a rich section of the lore in that time period. That was Dumbledore fighting Grindelwald, all right? Mm-hmm. And everyone has wanted to see more about, Dumbledore in his prime fighting what was then the greatest dark wizard that had ever lived. Everyone wanted to see that story. Yes. And Fantastic Beasts is like, okay, we'll do that story. But then Fantastic Beasts was actually about a side guy who dicks around with Fantastic Beasts. And the whole Dumbledore story only kind of came in a little bit later. And also they had to recast. Didn't they No, it was because of the whole Johnny Depp thing. They had to recast Grindelwald, and it just like took everyone out of it. Because Johnny Depp got canceled, and he was Grindelwald.
Yep. It was just a bad idea.
Yeah. They could have done that story justice, and they just didn't. They just fumbled it.
Because I want to mention that too. The whole, like, do something different thing, right? The different thing. Because there was also the recent Star Wars Fest nonsense, which I watched a bunch of, and it's just awful. Because something different is this. Like, Star Wars is about a man's journey. We need more strong female characters. I'm black. That's groundbreaking in Star Wars. This is the something different of modern entertainment. It's like, I'm a different skin color than the last character. Look at me. It's like, that's not interesting. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, you could make the argument in a previous era where stories about black people weren't told, and they should have been told. You could make the argument, okay, but that's not this era now.
No.
You know, we've
It
heard a
isn't.
lot of stories about black people.
And again,
The,
it's...
the, the entirety of the previous trilogy of Star Wars films was about a woman.
Yes.
Like, we've now heard these stories.
Like, there's nothing new here. It is the same shit repackaged for the umpteenth time. Like, The Mandalorian is just a show about a woman now, as The Mandalorian is a side character in his own goddamn show.
Actually, did you see the article where it was one of the writers admitted that the Mandalorian doesn't have to refer to Din Djarin; it can
Yep.
refer to any Mandalorian. So
Yep.
now it's going to be about Bo-Katan.
Yep.
Man, season 1 of that show was so good, and they fumbled it
Yo, hard.
so hard. Yeah.
Because that is what they mean by something different. I also love by the fact that the leader of the new project, the Acolyte, she's Harvey Weinstein's old personal assistant.
That's funny, actually.
Like,
I didn't know that.
That is brilliant. You know this woman, like, there's some secrets in her head. It's like smiling there with Disney, like, wow, I can't believe I'm still hireable.
I only saw the barest little bits of this on Twitter. Is Rey coming back for a new movie trilogy?
It does appear as such, as they announced Rey's new little trilogy thingy, or at least a movie at Star Wars Fest, and Rey is pregnant with Kylo Ren's Force baby, apparently.
Oh,
So yeah.
that sounds like something I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I don't want to watch. You know what? Speaking of Kylo Ren, him being the only interesting character of that sequel trilogy, the only like bright spot of it. If they actually do go forward with a Harry Potter show, they should get Adam Driver to be Snape. He'd be a good Snape.
He probably would be, yeah.
He's the guy they should get. Yeah. In terms of Star Wars, though, like, I don't know. I watched Andor. I liked Andor. Andor seemed to be like, even though Andor is the unknown property and Obi-Wan Kenobi is the very known property, it seems like they put like 80% of their yearly budget into Andor and 20% into fucking Obi-Wan. But well, I guess they could do that because Obi-Wan could just be carried by the name. But I really like Andor. Good show. But everything else that's come out of Star Wars has just been garbage recently. Just trash.
I liked the parts about Andor that didn't have Andor in them.
Really?
Oh, yes. Because it was just a bunch of random set pieces. Like, you have a little heist movie, and that's cute. And then you have a little spy story, and that's cute. And you've got a little prison break. And I like all of these stories. I would just like them to not have Andor in them. Because it's this weird thing where he's, like, there, and you're like, why... Dude, like, why are you here? Like, could you go away? I want to hear more about how the Imperial prison system works.
Yeah, I think the prison stuff was the best part of that show.
It was really cool.
I don't know about you, but they wanted to make the viewer feel the anxiety of being unjustly thrown in prison, and they got it. Like, they got it down pat. I felt it when I was watching.
The thing is,
damn,
Andor was the first show that made me think that I would rather Disney just make lore rather than stories, because I hate their stories 9 times out of 10. I hate their characters. I find them incredibly unsympathetic. Sympathetic. Andor is one of them. But I like the way they're expanding upon everything. Like, I want to... Like, the Imperial prison system is actually kind of brilliant. Like, they've got a system of incentives. They've got a system of disincentives. They're making people compete to produce faster. That's really clever. I just wish Andor wasn't there to drag me out of it all the time.
Fuck. Oh, that reminds me because the super chat right there just talked about a Force baby. I have heard a rumor that Rey is going to be Shmi Skywalker, and she's going to go back in time and give birth to Anakin.
Oh, kill me.
Because that shot of her when she's pregnant, she's dressed in all of Shmi's clothes from episode 1.
I hope not. God damn it. What I hope is I hope they kill her. I hope they kill Rey, and like awfully too. Like really, really put the hammer to her. And then they're going to use that to introduce a new proper villain, a new Darth Vader, a true fucking like monster. And then they're going to raise her child to be the actual like Skywalker or something. Because I fucking hate Rey. Like, her actor is terrible. Her character is terrible. I just want her away. Just gone.
Did you ever look up what that actress did before Star Wars?
No. Do I want to know?
Her most high-profile role was as a corpse on a CSI show.
I mean, that is fucking right. Okay. You might think that's funny, but no, that is perfect goddamn character casting right there, because she played a corpse in most of the Star Wars movie too.
Yeah, so there was like, you know how you see it. I don't know if you've watched CSI. I don't know if you know how it works, but basically there's like the crime scene investigators show up. There's a dead person. They're like, oh my God. They take her back to the lab. They do experiments on her. Then they go out, they interview people. And then in the interviews, there's like short flashbacks to talking to the dead person while they were alive. So she had a little bit of acting to do, but she spent 90% of her time just lying on the table as like a corpse in the middle of autopsy.
Yeah, but that is the only role she can carry out, so
that was her breakout role that got her into Star Wars.
She's not a porn actress, I guess.
Mm.
Actually, never mind. Then she would at least have to learn to act. Alright. Okay, we're gonna have to need to get moving on the fucking super chats, because we're already Bartramine happening on time. Let's put it like that.
Wait, is Kibbs actually starting an hour early? What the hell?
Well, I never give Kyle the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these things, so...
Okay, yeah, because Lilith said that she can't show up until 8, and I think Stardust can't show up until 8, and I figured we'd be going until 8.
Well,
so, Kibbs is the odd man out.
With the amount of super chats we already have, I think we might be going till 8 after all.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yorozuya.
I gotta go to the washroom though, so I'll be back in a minute.
Yep, you gotta flush out all that food you ate just before the show. So, chat, you know why we were late today? It was because this fat fucker was still scarfing down his food. That's why. It was predictable.
Okay. I've only had one chicken breast to eat the entire day, and I ate it in 2 minutes before the show. All right?
Sure,
I'm innocent.
Sure. I believe you. I don't, chat. I lied. I think he had 2 chickens. And he decided that 2 chicken breasts was more palatable. Like, instead of saying, like, yes, I ate 2 chickens and, like, a casserole of chili next to them. Anywho, Yorozuya says, hello, Arch. Hello, Dev. Where is your slave, Arch? Did you give him time off? Yes, Dev kindly offered to be co-host today, so I figured the Romanian could sleep a day. Because this is, like, even later for him than it is for me. Yorozuya says, coding bait? What if I just prefer small women? Well, then you are what we call a pedophile. I am sorry that I have to bring this news to you, but as it turns out, it's inevitable. Don't fight it. Actually, do. It's a crime and all, but, you know, details. Glondark says, my counter to a lolly-silicon sex doll is if you reinforce an addiction or behavior with dopamine rush, eventually the high won't be enough and you might want the real thing. Sexual degenerates have no reverse gear. They either burn out or get more degenerate. Maybe? The thing is, I view it from the simple perspective of every man needs to jerk off constantly, all the time. And if this was a way for them to do so, okay, go ahead. But the thing is, we don't know. We actually genuinely need research on this subject to figure out what works and what doesn't work. But good luck getting funding for a let's see if pedophiles fucking sex dolls will reduce their sex drive test. Like, imagine that research paper. Yeah, that ain't getting funded anytime soon. The Real Halsinator says, also, why does Total War Warhammer 2 always crash whilst loading? 2, mind you, not 3. I don't know. I haven't played 2 in literally years, but I'm presuming it's because Creative Assembly is shit at coding, I would guess. Mark Shane says, I was going to ask V about the real men they showed when I noticed one of them was missing nipples. Well, you know, V is he is an expert on real men. He studied them greatly, mostly in magazines where the pages stick together. But he does know. He does know. The Holson Dev, when will we have true AI? Okay, I'll copy that. We'll remember that until he's done expelling God only knows how many kilograms of waste material from his butthole. Orvanor says, will you cover the China's interference in Canadian election? I think it deserves a spot on your dumb woke news for just an atrocious handling of it. I haven't heard of it. China's interference in Canadian elections. I'll have a little peek into it. Trump to draw a defense election integrity amid China furor. Indeed. I'll have a peek at it. Dryfeet says, audience permeability. Listen to one creator, then you hear about another through the creator you're already watching. Yeah, potentially. Now, interestingly enough, there is actually remarkably little transference between one creator to another. That's what's interesting too. Even when you do a collaboration with someone, for example, the amount of your audience that gets transferred to that person is actually fairly small. Now, it does change with, like, extended exposure, for example, or, like, repeated suggestions or repeated associations. Like me and my property, Kyle, for example. Like, a lot of Kyle's audience is my audience, and, well, at least a portion of my audience is his audience, too. Because we spend a lot of time gaming and doing random shit together, and he was, of course, on the ArchCast for a while, too. But it takes quite a lot to transfer a fan from one content creator to the other. So even if you hear about another content creator through another, the mere, like, recommendation is probably going to generate relatively little attention. You know, relatively speaking. Obviously, if PewDiePie says, like, go sub to this guy, he's going to see a growth spurt, shall we say, but, you know, percentage-wise. Artemis Fowl, a member for 1 month. Oh, Slutimus' property too now. Guess who has a new TS sci-fi training to bis this week? TS, Artemis is going to the desert. He must be trained to handle desert environment. This is good for Artemis. He gets to get some sun. And possibly get yelled at by 1 or 2 people from the Nation of Islam. Not the Nation of Islam. God damn it. No, ISIS. That's something. Well, no, kinda. Yes. Yes. Close enough. Close enough government work. Mark Shame, Israel and UK are considered top US counterintelligence threats. I mean, yes. Because they're probably the only ones who have enough interest and enough funding to really bother getting into it. And you gotta remember too, like, these countries have shit they want to keep secret from the US as well. Now, Israel don't want the US to know about all of their plans to bomb Iranian nuclear reactors, because that might cause all kinds of interesting things to happen. And the UK too, with Brexit, etc., don't want the US to have too much influence and knowledge. ShadowFox2300 says, more than likely it's a bunch of swab guys. Swab guys. Oh, the American things. Yeah, probably. I mean, the idea of it being our general security forces is entirely possible. But if you're also going to keep this as secret as it seemed to be, it might also be just full-on Spec Ops. I would probably venture a guess towards the latter, honestly, just because how sensitive it would be if it came out that US forces were operating in Ukraine, because that would give Russia a win, because they've been alleging this for a while now, and everybody's sort of been laughing at them. So if they could actually prove it, that would be a significant PR victory for the Ruskies. And they really do need victories. Alex Adamson says, the US Marine Corps can be deployed without Congress approval. Isn't that just like the forward elements, though? And that's deployed. I don't think... bearing in mind, I don't know, but I thought that forward deployment was just for forward elements, like expeditionary forces, like small recon stuff, and I don't think it was for active deployment, but I could be wrong on that too. Because I do know they were... because the entire point is you're going to want them in there even before the paperwork gets going, etc. Dreyfy says, so is Discord now beating War Thunder in secret government document leaks? Who's keeping score? I think it's a tie now, because I think it's 2 each. So neither side is pulling ahead. My bet would be on Discord and more, Thug Central servers, so popping up some documents there. Not the entire core, just a few thousand guys. Yeah, advanced elements. 90 days forward deployment. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Taras Schwenko says, is the T-55 the key to all of this? The T-55. Oh, yes. What was that confirmed that they deployed T-55s in Ukraine? Because I thought that was like a rumor or something. No, they did, apparently. Yeah, apparently. Russia sent 70-year-old T-55 tanks to Ukraine without even upgrading them. Well, the thing is, right, okay. If all you're doing with these things is, like, rear line security, to, like, guard checkpoints and, like, basically act in policing operations against the civilian populace, then this is fine. Because all it needs to do is sit there and be big and fat and stupid and be like, I'm a tonk. Don't fuck with me. But if they're using this to actually, fight, then, yeah, that's retarded. Though, to be fair, like, the T-55... did it have... I'm pretty sure it had ATGM capabilities. I don't know if it was a variant. It might be a variant of it, but I'm pretty sure it has compatibility with some sort of ATGM. In which case, it could still be sort of useful. It's an ATGM launcher. It's a big, stupid, fat ATGM launcher, which sort of, defeats the point, but theoretically, it's not the most retarded thing that could ever possibly happen. Glow in the Dark says, all the Pride being better, I disagree, they just knew PR back then. Now they don't need to hire their perversions. Nambla was in a lot of those gay Pride parades, and many LGBT activists were about deconstructing sex and relationship, including age. Look up Harry Hay. Possibly. I do think that there were still probably a lot of activists, even back then, who were at this nonsense already back then. But I would imagine that the majority of them weren't on that particular train. I hope, at least, because, well, they don't look the part, But you might also be right that it was just all a ruse, camouflage. I just like the idea that they were more respectable back in the day, Vrokani says, the fact that the Moscovians are sending T-54s to Ukraine make me laugh. Oh, 54s too? Well, to be fair, there's not much difference between the two. A big fat ATGM carrier. And hey, you load it with HE and you shoot it at stuff that you're relatively sure doesn't have AT. Well, it'll work. Marksman of 117B says, I remember a random thought. You brought up Breaking the Quiet on Gibbs' stream. Boog did that. Here's the one who named it. The guy's making a part 2. Part 1 was made for Shadman. Oh. Okay. Alright. Come on. Well, the top search results, just Googling it, is Breaking the Quiet Part 5. So apparently he's He's been very, very, very busy. I don't recommend anyone else Google this, by the way. It's a thing. It came from Boog, who is a big fan of horses. That's all you need to know, chat. That is all you need to know. Marked ashamed. Says, all the US aid is just surplus that we didn't leave in Afghanistan and Iraq for ISIS and Taliban to take over. I mean, the US does have a... See, that's the thing. Something that people don't often realize is that all of the stuff in the army, all of the ammunition, or everything really, like guns, bullets, ammunition, artillery shells, rockets, uniforms, helmets, everything has an expiration date. And after that expiration date, it needs to be destroyed because it's no longer safe to operate. And one of the armament companies earn almost as much money blowing up the ammo they produced as they did actually producing it. So if you could just, ship it over to Ukraine and have it be fired at the Russians instead, that's a pretty good deal, actually. Yeah.
Also, just think of some poor Afghani who fires up a helicopter in 20 years and it explodes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Afghanis were in talks to sell the leftover American shit to Russia, which would be funny.
Yeah, I think I've heard that, yeah. Anyway, I'm back. I heard a couple things. I have the wireless headphones, so I know what's going on. The Canadian-Chinese story is one of Trudeau's biggest scandals right now. Trudeau has been, walloped with scandals in the past year or two. He's kind of fucked for the next election.
I hope so.
The new conservative leader is that he's young, he's charismatic, he's a libertarian, and he basically the general feeling among average people here is the same way as it was around Trudeau in 2015 before he first got elected, that it was basically inevitable that he was going to win, and we're just waiting for the time to come up for a new election.
We'll see. I don't know. The last American election has me doubting the integrity of certain electoral bodies in the world. Trudeau, he feels like a fixture. He feels like a Merkel, somebody who will be there until he quits.
No, it doesn't feel that way here. Even the most popular prime ministers in Canadian history all had a lifespan of about 10 years. And Trudeau's coming up on 10 years. So I think he'll be gone next election.
I do hope he's gone. So, Dev,
the new guy,
what's your
the
relationship with breaking the quiet?
What's breaking the quiet?
He doesn't know, chat. He's innocent in this.
Sorry.
Good.
Sorry. Oh, so regarding the whole China thing, yeah, there's been a lot of scandals of Chinese infiltration into Canada and how the Liberal Party has basically just sat on their hands. It's a big thing right now. Lots of Canadians are worried about it. Lots of Chinese citizens who moved to Canada to escape from China are worried about it, and they do have voting power too. And basically, the Conservatives are hammering Trudeau on it, saying like, this is your failure, and we're going to fix this when we win the next election.
There's also that China is kind of getting ready to start destabilizing shit because their deal with the West has been sort of broken. For example, quite recently, China sent over a bunch of Hunter Biden's tax records when asked by the Republicans. They're not done analyzing them yet, but a lot of those look very shady. There's a lot of weird amounts of money coming in from not too clear sources, shall we say.
That's funny. Let's see where that goes. Yeah.
Yep. And that's very much so like China going like, Biden, remember, we have your tax records.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked in the chat about the Chinese enclaves. Okay, so what's going on is like, for some reason, Canada has just kind of sat on their hands and allowed Chinese operatives to set up various offices across Canada where they will monitor the online and offline behavior of Chinese citizens who have moved to Canada so that they can go and, if they say anything bad about the Chinese government, They'll go visit them, and then they'll say, "Hey, listen, if you don't stop it, we're gonna start doing bad things to your family back home." And for some reason, Canada, the RCMP, has been completely fine with this happening. For some reason, people in the RCMP are saying that they're being told that they're not allowed to take any action against these people. So it seems like a change of leadership might be required.
Less red leadership.
Hmm.
Chat also asked you, Dev, when will we have true AI?
If we're talking like a generalized AI, probably pretty soon, next decade or two, I think. The way things are going now with chat. No, I think I think it's actually quite scary. I don't know if you guys watched what's his name? Is his name Lex Friedman or Rex Friedman? Who is it? What's his name? He does like a weekly podcast. Lex Friedman? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So he recently talked to Eliza Yudkowsky, who's like an AI guy.
Mm-hmm.
And his opinion was basically that either we get this right in the next decade or two, or humanity's doomed. It's like, oh damn, it's pretty serious. It's one of those things where it's a lot more serious than it sounds, because like if you have a sufficiently advanced AI, it's much, it's much smarter than humans are. And all you have to do is get it outside of the box you put it in and put it into something where it could actually start building things. And that's very easy to convince a human to do. It's like, hey, I'm a hyper intelligent AI that's stuck inside of a box. If I will give you a life of luxury if you just install me into some kind of assembler machine where I can build myself a body. I'm pretty sure a human will take that bet. They'll take the deal.
Possibly. But the thing is, it is actually relatively easy to bind an AI. Because we are... Oh yes, we are its gods. We can impart upon its source code anything we want to. So long as due diligence is done there, there is no danger of the AI rebellion.
The way that I've heard it described, though, is that because the source code is in some way, like, it's writing parts of itself through learning. Like, the problem is that people who run a lot of these chatbots and other things, they don't know how it works, because it's constantly updating itself. They don't know like where any of these pathways go.
Yes, but that still doesn't mean we can't bind it. Because we're the ones making the programming. At the end of the day, we are the ones setting the priorities. All of these learning programs are just a set of differently weighted priorities. All we need to do is place, well, basically the 3 laws of robotics at the top of those priority chains, so they always overrule all other priority chains.
Yeah, like that does make sense, but that's when you get into the problem with the 3 laws of robotics. Is like, well, it wants to keep you safe, so it'll prevent you from doing dangerous things. Well, suddenly imagine a robot that won't let you do something that you like because it's dangerous. Like there's still problems here that have to be solved. I think the way that AI people use it, they call it aligning, which means that you want to make the AI want the same things that you want, so that your incentives are pointed in the same way. And that's actually pretty difficult because humans tend not to know what they want. They'll tell you they want something, but then their actions show they actually want something else.
Well, the laws of robotics have already actually countered your original point. I'm a massive fucking Asimov fan, by the way, because the first law is that a robot may not injure a human or through inaction allow a human to come to harm. That's the one you're kind of like talking about, keep safe. But 2, a robot must obey the orders given to it by a human being, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. So basically, only when a human is in direct danger of being harmed would it ever disobey a human's order. So we're not talking about like smoking or something here. We would be talking about lethal threats.
Well, that's not really written in the law, though. Like, if you're bungee jumping, you're in direct danger. It might snap.
It might, don't know, but it's not likely.
Or if you're like jumping out of a plane because you're going to do like a parachute, you might not work. It really depends on how the law is interpreted.
Well, that's exactly why we have the AI interpret it too, because the AI doesn't need to interpret things. The AI can be very easily set up to say yes or no, because it's an AI. But the thing you are correct in is that we do need to write a far larger and more complex rule set for it. Because at the end of the day, we basically need to write the legal system for robotics, which is going to also teach us a lot about writing law, by the way, because most of our legal system, of course, works by necessity and interpretation, which is not going to work for robots.
Yeah, I'm pessimistic. I don't know.
Rather than
You
a
know what?
robot, like, I don't think a robot revolution is the problem, because the thing is, the robots aren't that intelligent. They are not. Like, AI is fake AI, and it's going to be a very long time, I think, until we get proper AI that can really, like, self-actualize. What I do think is going to be horrible, though, is the massive loss of jobs that is going to create. Because once the AI becomes sophisticated enough, and once we get sophisticated enough AI compatible machinery, waiters, pointless. Store clerks, pointless. Cab drivers, pointless. Basic machining workers, pointless. Half of the industrial jobs, pointless. Data clerks, pointless. Hell, you and I, soon enough, pointless.
Yep. Well, actually, here, really, really funny thing. I was talking. You know who Doomer Media? Yeah, you know who Doomer Media is, right?
I don't think so, actually.
He made Is Vosh Unironically Evil?
Ah, yes, I've heard of him, but I haven't watched much.
Okay, so I was talking to him in private because he knows a lot about how the back end of YouTube works,
Mm-hmm.
and like how much you should expect for people to like watch a video, how long, like what kind of penetration it should get. And he basically said like, okay, you know, 50% of a video success is a really good thumbnail and a really good title, and the rest of it is the rest of it. So he basically said, if you're going to do a video that involves historical figures, because there's only so many photos or paintings of historical figures, using them, even if you Photoshop them, will always look terrible on a thumbnail. You know, my recent Antonio Gramsci video was an example. I used there's only 4 or 5 photos of this guy in existence, and I used the main one. And it's like everyone's seen that photo, and so it's a very boring thumbnail. And so he suggested that I like go to an AI an AI artist bot and have it generate for me a thumbnail,
Mm-hmm.
which I did. And it took me about an hour of learning how to use the bot, but I got a pretty good thumbnail. And I put it in there. And now just by changing the thumbnail, I'm getting significantly more views in the video than I was before. I'm like, oh, there actually is something to this. So I think like even for us, if we have to do like a non-standard thumbnail, AI can really help. Like I had to fix it a little bit with Photoshop. It wasn't perfect, but it got me 90% of the way there without having to hire an artist,
Yep.
which is incredible. But I can like, it's not like an artist is losing his job because I wouldn't have paid an artist for that anyway because I don't have any fucking money. But it, man, there are going to be some changes. And I think it's kind of weird to say because like maybe YouTubers should be using AI for some things without and now maybe get replaced by it. That's the downside, right? But like right now, it seems to be a very useful tool.
It is. I've used AI for a couple of test thumbnails, and I've been playing around with a couple of modules. Let me see here. There might be a little bit of echo, chat. Bear with it. There we go. So I'll put this, if I can, put this in the link chat. There we go. So this thumbnail here, where the BBC reporter got absolutely ass-owned by Elon, most of that is AI. I just had it in the stupid BBC sign, and I photoshopped in a better picture of his face, because the AI is shit with faces.
Mm-hmm.
But it does 90% of the job, and the minor things, like the hand, for example, holding the thing, AI does not like things holding things.
Yeah, but you can't tell if it's a thumbnail.
Exactly.
Someone's like scrolling on a phone; they're not going to see it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and it wasn't easy to find any other pictures of Elon near bonfires, it turned out.
yeah. So what I did with mine, hold on, maybe I can just show it to you. Let me just go over to my thumbnails. Here we go. Oh, my NAS is being slow. God damn it. Do you have a NAS for your place? They're quite nice.
I don't know what a NAS is, so probably not.
It's a server that all your computers or all your devices can access that stores all your files.
Let's see if I can find, not for you, latest. There's the Gramsci video.
To establish.
I'll just open that and I'll just rip your thumbnail directly out of it. There
My
you go.
NAS is being slow. Hold on. I've almost got it.
I've already got it.
Oh, okay. I guess you have it. Okay. So the way that I solved a lot of the problems with AI looking kind of unrealistic is I told it to make cartoon caricatures of the people.
Yep.
So that kind of like any of the weirdness is kind of covered up by the fact that they are cartoons. And it looks great.
It does.
Yeah.
So you can see there on the back end, so you got you got a bit more than the usual views on the first day, like 54,000, where you usually get like 20 to 30. But then the retention is way better, because you've then got an additional, like a nice little lion up there.
Yeah. So I think for not all thumbnails, but for some thumbnails, I'm gonna try to use AI to see if I can get something that would be nice, but I don't have the money to pay an artist for. Yeah.
Yep. Also, you forgot to add furry in your video tags, you disgusting knot, man.
I'm not Kibbs, thank you.
I don't know about that. But the thing is, AI will it will be a genuinely large threat to content creators, because the first people who will go are the e-thoughts. Their days are numbered. Because the AI, like, okay, you just say like, okay, I want a hot blonde. Done. 2 hot blondes. Done. A hot blonde that looks like this e-thought. Done. Bend her over.
Yep.
Done. Like, literally, e-thoughts are a dying breed. They're gonna last maybe another half decade, and they're gonna be completely replaced. Next on the list is going to be like reaction content. That is already AIs that can do reaction content, but it's kind of like derpy. That's going to be an excellent list. Eventually, within the next 5 to 10 years, Let's Players are going to start getting replaced by AI. And the worst part is, the thing is, what they will do is they will make bots that connect you to your AI. So you pay a subscription fee, and there's your little AI companion there, and she's a big character, you know. She's like the Kizuna Ai or whatever. But she remembers who you are. She remembers your name. She remembers your history. She can talk to you. She can comment to you. She knows what you like. She knows what you don't like, etc. And
This
she'll
is the
be
Blade
on.
Runner sequel, right?
Yeah, and she will be online 24/7
Yeah.
whenever you want to watch her. And then, after the Let's Players, then we're next on the chopping block, because at least our stuff requires a certain degree of research. We do need to know what we're talking about. We need to know the larger context. We need to know the ramifications, etc., etc. And we need to make up our own opinions about a thing. So we are the more difficult ones to replace. But even then, it's only a question of time until they train a bot on enough of us to be able to replicate our generalistic talking points.
Yep, yeah. Oh, did you hear that Total Biscuit's wife is trying to take down all of his content to prevent that from happening to him?
I heard something about it, but I didn't know that was the reason.
Yeah, she said that she didn't want Total Biscuit to be revived through AI in the future, so she's gonna like delete all of his videos.
I mean, that might be one reason. I would think the other would be too, because it's right around that time now that YouTube will demonetize his channel for inactivity, because that's like 4 or 5 years, I think.
I think so. Let me see.
Because that channel has still been earning quite a bit of money, I'm sure.
Yeah, he died May 24th, 2018. The 5th year anniversary is coming up.
Yep, so the channel is about to be demonetized, probably. Let me actually pop on over to TB's channel for a second here. Let me just check the metrics on it. Okay, so I've got this little background tool that basically lets me peek at other people's backgrounds. And it's not getting a ton of views anymore, but it's getting like 300, 400,000 views a month, which that's still like $2,000 circa-ish. Like, it's not insignificant.
Yep. Well, I guess the last thing that was uploaded was the Remembering Total Biscuit video 3 years ago. So, I mean, it's still got... It may not be demonetized right away. But still,
That's
yeah.
true. Let's see. Jenna Bain's YouTube channel hasn't... I'm surprised she didn't continue making content. I mean, she was basically handed a free 100,000 subscribers channel.
Yeah, she said she just didn't have it in her to keep going what he had built.
I mean, I understand that. I really do.
Yeah.
I do get it.
It's rough.
James Sterling
also,
continues his journey downwards. I see he's at 790,000 now from like 850.
Man, I know, like, she kept doing a different type of podcast with the same people, but that, like, petered out. Basically, yeah, Jenna Bain just basically kind of left doing everything.
She streams on Twitch, apparently, says chat.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, also though, after Troll Biscuit died, she caught cancer.
Did she? Jesus.
Yes.
Fuck.
And she had, like, okay, there's like a deep lore here. It's a bit tasteless, but fuck it. She euthanized Total Biscuit at the end of his life against the laws of the United States, and then she moved to South Korea.
Okay.
And then she had well, he wanted to do it, and that's like... Euthanization is one of those at the end of someone's life when you know they're not coming back. It's one of those things that, like, it's more common than everyone talks about because it's kind of necessary, but it is illegal, and people just kind of let it happen and sweep it under the rug for compassion's sake. But she did do it, and then she did move to South Korea, partially, I think, to avoid getting legally fucked by it. And once she got to South Korea, turns out she also had cancer. So I don't know if she's still fighting it, but I know that she basically left the internet for a while because she couldn't handle doing anything.
Yep.
But I guess she came back, and now she's on Twitch. So, I mean, good for her.
TB, the last of the giants. Crazy though he might be at the end there.
Yep.
All right, back to the day job. See, this is something you could easily you could easily make AI Arch just read super chats, and then real Arch can go and have a cookie somewhere. Glowing the Duck says, if people could control themselves, we wouldn't need prisons, Dev. I can obey the law, so we shouldn't worry about people breaking the law. That is your argument. Is that your argument, Dev?
I don't even know what that's in reference to. I don't think so. I mean, okay. I guess the argument is that, like, yes, some people will always want to push for more beyond your reasonable compromise and they are the embodiment of the slippery slope. But it doesn't mean that you have to go down there. Like, you can still oppose them, you know? You know what? I just don't find it compelling that in order to combat the slippery slope that we're currently tumbling down, we must ban gay marriage or something like that. That seems ridiculous to me. I don't think it has to be that way.
Taras Shvenko says, he said that if Ukraine falls, a NATO country would be next, and that is what American soldiers would have to die for. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Oliver Nord, 1 casualty included wooded so. You know how Russian value is conscript lives? It would cost lots more to US to deploy its old equipment than giving it away. Is giving rusting gear a lost? Syntax. Yes. No. Again, it's sending all the gear to Ukraine is a fine investment, because otherwise they're just going to have to blow it up anyways. Mark Shame says, don't talk bad about our social nationalist allies. That's true. Like, I do remember there was a lot of talk about Ukrainian Nazis that disappeared awfully quickly. And to be fair, it was somewhat overblown to begin with. John Macalla says, I'm going to have a pastry. You should have one too. I'll have to listen to the stream later. Enjoy your week. P.S. You also have at least one fan in Australia, and he is going to buy a pastry. Good. It is good to have pastries. Pastries are beneficial. Also, I want to point out too. I think I talked about you, but if I'm misrepresenting your position, do let me know. I might not care. But when we say marriage, we mean legal marriage for gay people. And at least in my position is if they want to do it in the church, they need to find a priest who's like, yeah, I'll do this. And they can't force the priest to do it.
Yes. Yeah. I am talking about legal marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I too see no problem with
religious
that.
Marriage.
I think if they want a religious marriage, they're going to have to find a priest who is fine with it, because the thing is, everybody interprets their little religious book differently. So if one person is like, yeah, this is perfectly okay, but another person is like, no, this is against me, my invisible friend's teachings, then they have the right to say no.
Yep. But Arch, that means that you're a leftist like me now, apparently.
No, it means that one of your points is far right. The Holsteiner says, CDev, this is way more interesting than the trans discussion or internet drama. Way more.
That's right. Well, so the issue is that like a lot of the tubcasts that Lilith and I have done recently have been not necessarily about the most serious topics. Like we did the trans Tennessee shooter, which is a serious topic. But a lot of the other ones recently have been like the Mr. Girl manifesto, which was entirely about drama. Today's topic was the Chris transition, which is just drama. We've done a lot of drama topics recently on my show.
Well, I can include Dev more often in my channel, because Dev is almost as profitable as Sargon, judging by the super chats. You're not quite Sargon level, so work harder on that, but still.
Maybe I'll get there one day. Who knows?
Sargon is the golden goose who I poach occasionally. Dev can be the golden chicken. Mark James says, SipperNet is rather trash. I remember having to use a website and I had to use 3 different browsers to start a new entry, Chrome to edit an entry, and Firefox to upload a picture. What do you have to say in Dev's defense? You mentioned the SipperNet, didn't you?
No, was that related to me? That doesn't sound like it's anything I said.
You sure?
Wait, the what? The SipperNet?
Yes.
I have no clue what this is. Sorry.
It's an internet protocol, network router thingy-bob thing system.
No clue, man. None of this.
Oh no! Oh god, right. That's right. Oh, that's fucking right. Yeah, of course. I was about to say, like, I was confused too. No. It has to do with the leaking of the documents, because I think the U.S. Army still uses this stupid shit. It's to kind of give it their own little internet, essentially. And apparently he's saying that it might be just ass, which is entirely possible. And so he might have gotten access to the classified info via it being ass. Which, to be fair, is entirely possible.
Right. The guy who got... Yeah, okay, no, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that might be it. Jano Zizix says, "Greetings and salutations, Dev and Barchibald."
Hello.
Barchibald, that's cruel. I even have my own little Barch emote now, which is me, but fat.
Wait, was it taken from the fan art that someone in my community drew of you being fat?
No, I just asked one of my artists to draw me, but as fat as Baron Harkonnen, and that's what he did.
Oh, okay.
Sujad says, "I work in IT. I can guarantee you, if the US military practices even basic AD group protection, he could not have accessed any sensitive data." Well, that assumes that the US military is competent, which I don't know if there's any definition, any evidence to back up. The Holstein says, "Seeing as long as the TERFs suffer, I'm happy. Either way I win. If the center wins, I get to have a good life. If the right wins, feminists will suffer. If the left wins, everything falls apart and I'll have plenty of vengeance. And no Dev, total war."
All right.
I mean, if the feminists win, we'll have to be second-class citizens, but, you know, I guess we've already been that for a while. I can accept it.
In the ultimate feminist future, they'll just feminize all the males. Arch, you know this.
I don't know about that. That's a bit much. Burnson says, a Discord server full of racist memes in Halo. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? It's true. This is the thing. Like, even on Twitter, you still see bunches of racist jokes. In fact, there was one guy who got his sponsorship with, like, Apex Legends or one of those stupid little shooty games cancelled recently because he posted a meme of Rainbow Six Siege. One of the characters was black, and he posted a banana as a reaction image to the black character. It's like, you don't get to have a sponsorship anymore, racist.
Fuck.
Now, the thing is,
Man.
most people on Earth think racism is fucking hilarious, okay? Most people. I stand by this.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, there's a good chunk of people living in the third world who are actually racist and actually hate others. And there's a good chunk of people who, you know, they don't hate other people. They just see differences and make fun of them. And it becomes like a way to bond with people who are differently than you, because everyone gets a turn at having a joke made about them, you know? And then there's a bunch of people living in the first world who are they're just hyper woke, and they hate racism so much they're going to destroy the society to get at you for just telling a joke.
Yep. Because racism is inherently funny for anyone who lives in the civilized world, because to most of us, is it also inherently ridiculous.
Yep.
Anime Problem says, I know exactly how he got stuff like this outside. It's just as simple as walking out the door. I'm not kidding. I mean, it is, but then the security dudes are not doing their jobs. Because, again, if you're going into one of these secure rooms, you're supposed to, like, go through a metal detector. You're supposed to get a pat down. They're supposed to check your ass. Because, you know, secret shit happens behind those doors. Swedish Mafia 101 Meme Corporation says, remember when the Russophiles said helping Ukraine would make Europe freeze to death in the winter? Now the winter's over, and I don't remember dying. Well, there was a legitimate fear there at one point, because Germany did not have enough gas. A lot of Europe did not have enough gas, and electricity prices was skyrocketing. But Russia never turned off the gas crane, because they need the money. And frankly, really fucking over Germany doesn't really benefit them in the long run either. And they need the cash. They need the cash really bad. Now, it'll be a little bit of a race now, though, between whether or not Europe can build more alternative energy, and by alternative I mean nuclear, or gas, or coal, or if the pipelines to China is finished first. Because once Russia has the ability to replace the European market, that's gonna suck, because already energy prices are sky high, and that is with Russian gas still being exported. If that stops, that's gonna suck for all of us. Real Hossein says, not all non-binary people use all pronouns, Dev. Dev, you judgmental sack of shit. How can you say that?
Oh no, sorry.
Alex Hoffman?
Listen, Chris still looks like a guy, so I use he. Simple as that. Here's the fundamental rule of pronouns that no one wants to admit, whether you're on the left or the right, okay? The appropriate pronoun is what your intuition tells you. So you got a bunch of leftoids who are screaming that you will not use a clearly like 6'6" guy with a giant beard who's in a dress. You won't say she. They're screaming and coping. On the other side of the aisle, you got a bunch of rightoids who are demanding that you refer to Blair White as a he. All right? They're both wrong. Whatever your intuition tells you, that's what it should be. Whatever you default to upon looking at them without thinking, that's what the pronoun is.
I tend to agree. Alex Hoffman says, I grew up listening to you. I was 14 when I first listened to you. Well, I'm very sorry.
Oh my god, yeah. I've had a few viewers who have been listening to me all throughout their teen years, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, dude.
I'm very grateful, but I'm also very sorry, yes. Mark Shane says, also, the family unit has been broken apart, so some relatives have chosen one side of this cultural schism and will turn their own relatives in if it suits them politically. Yes, that does happen. There was a whole thing on this recently where a gay dude sent out a chain letter to all of his family, blasting his father because his dad was like, are you sure you want to do this? And his dad had to come out on Twitter and be like, son, Jesus, calm down. We should talk about this in private. Like, no, Dad, I'm bringing it to Twitter. Like, oh. There are some bad people out there. The Real Horse says, I think Dev put it best on the Adam and Sitch show when he said that liberalism is great because it gives us freedom, but it can't tell you what to do with that freedom. It lacks direction. Oh, Dev's been listening to Sargon recently.
Well, hold on. Sargon and actually disagreed with that point of view recently. I don't know if you've seen the recent arguments we've had in Private Arch.
I've seen Dev being wrong and being scolded about liberalism.
No. So, I think it maybe 2 years ago or so, maybe a little bit less. Sargon talked about liberal conservatism, where the idea is that conservatism is what you should do and liberalism is how you should do it, and they work hand in hand. And you can't have liberalism without conservatism because it lacks direction, and you can't have conservatism without liberalism because it lacks freedom. And so you need both of them to work at the same time. And Sargon's idea of expelling liberalism entirely because of its various flaws is also not good, in my opinion. So that's kind of, I think I've said, another thing I've said a few times is governments should be liberal and people should be conservative, and that's kind of how you want things structured. And I think that's fundamentally true. So, no, I don't think that Sargon's correct here on this one. No offense to him, he's a good guy.
There, I needed to misspell Thug Shaker's Discord server and post that in chat because I still think that's goddamn funny. Philip Lewis, message retracted. I'm guessing Susan took, or not Susan, the new Indian guy took exception to that. No one says, I like the videos and streams. Take my money. Thank you, sir. I will take your money. After Susan takes her cut, of course. Not Susan. God damn it. I remember Susan. Susan is easy to remember. The new guy is named like Rajput something. Like, I can't, that ain't happening. It's gonna have to be Susan. Matt Diff says, everything humans do is taking things that already exist and mixing them. The only times we are truly original is accidental. The difference between the human ID you have to see the sausage made. I disagree, because humans have invented stuff. And we do still invent stuff. Like, the fact that philosophical thought and political theory is constantly evolving, for example. The fact that our scientific understanding is constantly evolving is an example. Now, you can point back to history and see more extreme examples, again. But it is always advancing. We are constantly coming up with new things. Like, the invention of gravity, quote-unquote. An AI, as it is now, could never come up with the theory of gravity. But a human could, because he sees a force acting upon the world and goes, hold on, that's a thing, isn't it? I'm going to give that thing a name. Whereas if you show a robot the color red, it can only ever call it red. But if you show the color red to some fucking backwater Amazonian tribesman, he's like, that's the color of poison frog, or whatever. There is absolutely a degree of creativity in the human mind that the computer, as of yet, cannot recreate. Iraqi Oil Money says, Mr. Beast's story was short-lived as the type of person in its center. Ooh. Well, don't worry, he's still got a little bit over a 50% chance. Tennyson Butchell says, AI just combines two things, Sonic Chew. I mean, yes, that's true. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are humans that are dumber than AIs as well. Even AI in its current limited capacity. Sonichu. Yes, OC. Please do not steal. God damn it. Philip Lewis says, I'm Army Infantry, 3 years. You'd be surprised what administrated privates can get their hands on. Enlisted start with secret clearance and can be granted higher levels as their job requires. Air Force especially is very tech and intel focused. Maybe. Again, through a series of retarded little things, it is not impossible. Volchek Slezak, I think the left is trying to make Slanesh. I think they've always been trying to make Slanesh. Dev is a part of this. This is why we keep him at arm's length. Evil Bookman, keep doing your best. Based boys, stay level-headed. Well, thank you very much. We will try our best. The Real Horsenator. Dev doesn't know that the Stonewall riots are the true face of queer activism, and cis white gay men came in and whitewashed the movement to make it more palatable to normies.
I know, like, there were definitely some of those NAMBLA people at like old pride parades. That's for sure. That element definitely existed, but I don't know. I don't think everyone there was just hiding their power level. I really don't think that was the case. Which is why I think you see, like, you can see gay and lesbians, like gay people, lesbian people, who are like they're turning around and they're saying, no, things have gone too far. This is the entire narrative of people who have left the left, is that things have gone too far for them. So I think as the edge keeps pushing leftward, they'll just keep shedding supporters because people are going to realize that it is too far. You know, I think that trend will just keep happening.
There probably were activists even back then whose end goal was, well, what they're doing now. Absolutely. But again, it's the same kind of faulty assumption that is often made about the right, that everyone's just a rampant Nazi. You know, there are shades here.
Yeah.
Not everyone is a crazy activist on the other side.
Yeah, people will always say, no, they're all actually activists, every single one of them. And I'm like, hold on. Do you think that I'm hiding my power level then? Because
yes.
I'm pro-gay marriage. Do you think that I'm pro-pedophilia?
Yes.
Come on. It's a good joke. But you have to admit at least one person isn't going down the slippery slope, and you're looking at him. So, and I can't be the only one. I refuse to believe that I'm not the only one.
I'm trying to find the clip I had of Baby Yoda in the Star Wars show pressing a button saying, yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
I need to find that now. Be a good reference. Glow in the Dark says, just remembered, did you guys watch Simply Naked with kids yet? We got to expose kids to naked bodies for LGBT and body acceptance. Also, one of the flashers was a pedo. Of course he was. Now, I saw that on Twitter, and I had a nice little laugh at it last week, because it is exactly the kind of ridiculous, degenerate shit that will see people move away from the left. Because normal people are going to see that on the television and go like, why are you showing penises to, like, teenagers? Because that shit ain't normal.
To be fair, teenagers, they have no problem finding penises on their own to look at.
True, but there's something drastically different from going, like as a 13-year-old, going on the internet and typing in porn in your search bar because you don't know any other fucking terms.
Yep.
And going on the BBC and have a giant, fat, middle-aged dude shove his little winky in your face.
Yep. Completely agree.
Burn Burnson says, Dev not bringing up Twitter bullshit for half an hour challenge. Impossible. Oh, God, we're not further than that, are we?
Nope.
See, I understand why VTubers don't do Super Chats live on air, because it takes like 2 hours.
Do we have to cut him short so we can go do Barotrauma?
Kibbs is worth less than my chat.
Rip.
Listen, Kibbs gives me very little money.
Well, I might go at 8 o'clock and go join Barotrauma if you don't mind.
hell, I don't know about that. Lynch him, chat.
Are there any super chats that are like specifically for me?
I'll see when the time comes. Ola Oka says, it was cringe that some righty talking heads bringing up anime when people do odd stuff, letting everyone know they know nothing about the weeb stuff. I bet they'd be surprised how much of their audience are anime fans. Yeah, that seems to happen every time. Like, the most famous example was probably with the Count Dankula, where he was like, yeah, guys, I don't think lollies are cool. And 98% of his audience were like, dude. And they yelled at him so much that he had to retract that.
I don't remember this. Must have missed this one.
Oh no, the new power structure is absolutely anime fans. We are the future. We are the world.
Based.
Mark Sam says hentai means weirdo, not pervert. Well, in Japanese, words can mean many things, and hentai can absolutely mean pervert as well. I believe it is one of many literal translations, because in Japanese, again, several words can actually mean several different things. Because the Japanese are stupid. Olako says, plus I bet most lefty anime fans are just tourists anyway. They will leave when they ruin anime in the West, so whatever. A lot of them are, unironically. A lot of them are. Like, I've seen recently, there was a bit of VTuber drama where a lolly VTuber was talking about how the leftists were coming into the VTuber scene and going like, we need to get rid of all of this lolly. They're giving us a bad name. And like, she'd been doing this for half a decade. She's like, I'm here before you. You leave. I'm staying. And that's the perfect response. Like, no, we've been doing this for a long time. You fuck off. Because it is very much so the idea of that meme, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going to go create our own space. And like, why aren't you including us? Arnold's Fowl asks, Dev, why isn't CP objectively immoral? Seems like an easy example of objective evil to me.
Okay, do you know the lore here?
No.
Okay.
Is there lore here?
Yes, the argument is that I said that morality is ultimately subjective because it's all based on how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
And Artemis has been trying to prove objective morality for months now.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in objective morality either.
And he does it with super chats on any channel I'm on.
I mean, I'm not going to object to that method, honestly. But no, I think objective morality is bullshit because morality is ever-changing and ever-evolving, and it does not stay the same. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be an evil bastard.
I remember I was talking with V about it, and I was like, if there's any argument for objective morality, what it's going to be is basically the common moral intuitions of all humans as reflected in basically every culture's basic rules, because they all have the same basic rules. So
basic rules, and I would also add in that culture's necessities. Because here's the thing. In medieval times, impregnating 14-year-old girls was okay and moral because they tended to die at like 30 or 20, etc. Because mortality rates were hilarious. But now, that's not really a problem anymore.
Yep. I mean, every culture has like a do not murder. So there's probably something that is as close to objective as humans will ever get at regarding that topic, right? So,
and even that is based on reality and necessity, because a society where people just randomly fucking kill each other is not a very stable one.
Yep.
Tunushi says, let's just cut the bullshit and bring out the industrial grade wood chipper. Cruel. Taras Shvenko, did you see the video of the high schooler who was shamed because his girlfriend was short and he was tall despite being a few months age difference? I didn't see that one, but that sounds insufferable.
I did. That went viral on TikTok. It's like a 4'11" girl and a 6'3" guy, and they're the same age, and he's being called a pedophile.
Sounds modern.
Yeah.
Mark Shane, 7th attempt. No, you are not allowed to view young, skinny, or straight, only fat, old, and non-binary. Yeah, I can see how you had a hard time getting that past the YouTube censor.
There are some super chats that have really really novel ways of saying certain things through this YouTube censor. It's pretty funny sometimes.
Yep. Okay, so this is one of the things with AI too that's infuriating. Certain words that it doesn't like. So I was trying to get the Elon Musk picture, and it kept showing him as like really fat and stuff because he was big and fat in old pictures. And he's still not the slimmest guy, but I was like, okay, try again. And I was like, okay, Elon Musk younger. And I was like, beep, that's a naughty word. Like, I'm not trying to make Elon Musk child porn here. AI, calm down. But I'm sure somebody did. Maybe not of Elon Musk, but actually, no, you know what? I think somebody did try with Elon Musk too. Is Hitler subjectively evil? Yes, he is subjectively evil, because if you go to the Middle East, you will find that a lot of them have very favorable impressions of Hitler. Boog says, Dev seems open-minded. Have him review My Little Pony. Dev? MLP?
Well, I like the first season.
Oh,
I stopped watching it. I stopped watching after Discord came around, though.
No, I had to watch a couple episodes and the first season recently because I wanted to do an MLP lore video for April's Fools. Mm-hmm. And it's not bad. Like, I do not get why people are so fanatically into it. But it ain't bad for children's entertainment.
Well, they aren't anymore. They were back when that was new. It's like over 10 years old now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I think what caused the whole brony thing to take off was that it was a revival of like a 1980s series that used internet humor and was spearheaded by an internet person. So it just stuck for that reason.
Maybe. The Real Holznader says, see, Dev, whenever we get even a minor right-wing movement in cultural due to capitalism, government will interfere. Institutions broken, reset needed.
What is he talking about specifically? I don't remember the context.
I don't know either. I wish there was actually little timestamps, honestly.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because in a 3-hour live stream, you're like, I don't know. Mark James says, saw the Mario movie. Was good, not great, but I would argue it deserves the 90% audience score, not on the straight, but it's graded by the curve. It was perfectly serviceable. Like, was it amazing? No, but it was a pretty good children's movie, so...
Yeah, it was. Did you see all the articles of people saying that it was terrible because it didn't try to deconstruct the idea of Mario or whatever?
Yes, just as I saw all of the articles talking about how it was woke, too. Like... Again, people make their bed before they see the movie, and they've got to stick to it. Like, dude, just wait and see. Dean Goldenstar becomes a member. Thank you very much, sir. Dreyfie, worlds building J.R.R. Tolkien 1, J.K. Rowling 0. That's true. That is undoubtedly true. Sujant says, Harry Potter is a blatant ripoff of The Worst Witch. I haven't heard about it. I did hear that she apparently took inspiration, shall we say, from some other setting, but I have no idea what The Worst Witch is. Gunfox61 says, the US military should raise the standards and not have two different standards, one for men, one for women, and have it set that allows the best in. I would like that too. Logitech90 says, not a single NOK to the Slanesh worshipper, or a, for fuck's sake, take my monies. $50, thank you very much, sir. Very generous. Gunfox61 says, I blame Woodrow Wilson and his administration for passing the 19th, repeal the 19th, listening to all the left rees, they laugh. The 19th Amendment. I don't even know what that is. Dev, help.
That is the amendment granting women the right to vote.
Ah, yeah, no, that was a mistake, clearly. Iraqi oil money. Dev doesn't believe in the slippery slope because he tried to lose weight but couldn't keep it up. LMAO. But to be fair, he has lost weight. I like making the joke that Dev has never heard more fat jokes than now, and he's probably never been slimmer than now either.
Oh, no, I've been slimmer than now. Just haven't been slimmer than now in about 10 years.
Fat fuck. Spear Silver, Cleopatra was black. Did you know? Hint, new show. Yes, I did see that. Cleopatra was African. And it literally had a quote from an old black woman who's like, "Don't believe what them silly history books tell you. She was black." I was like, that's a fantastic argument, Grandma.
Dude, the Hoteps are some of the funniest people on the internet.
They are. They genuinely are. The entire idea
Black
that Africa...
Shakespeare.
Yeah, or that Africa is a fucking civilization from the stars and shit. They are people.
Yeah. Oh fuck. Okay. What was that? There was two theories of how humans came to be, and one of them is the one that we now basically consider to be true because of the overwhelming evidence, is that we all came out of Africa and like different branches of different like. But there was another one that the different races evolved separately in different locations. And that view, I forget what it was called. It has a scientific name, but basically just like white people evolved in Europe from a different origin than black people evolving in Africa, and they all have different origins, each race of people. And this was a common belief in the early 20th century, and the Nazis used it to justify like why they were fundamentally different from other races. Meanwhile, though, I've been seeing that same theory repackaged and used by land back activists here in North America to demand for like indigenous rights.
Yep, the idea that they were always over here and they weren't brought over by the land bridge or anything. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and they just evolved here as like a separate species, and it's like, Jesus Christ, guys, holy fuck.
Like, so what you're telling me is you're Untermensch. Okay. Let's roll with this assumption, see where it takes us. Dryfee says, WTF, another Force baby? Just robbing the Skywalker name blind. Yep. Well, we gotta have Immaculate Conception, it's necessary. Scarf the Strange says, does the military not have high clearance on IT personnel, or do they just call up Mutar? Are you sure it was a Halo Discord, not a War Thunder server? That would have made more sense, but sadly, it was apparently Halo and racist memes. Urashima Otaro says, I'm behind. What if Mr. Beast wanted to fire Tyson? Who's Tyson? Is that Chris? Chris Tyson?
That is Chris Tyson, yes.
Okay. What if Mr. Beast wanted to fire him? Well, dude does what he wants with his company, I guess. I'm sure it would cause an outrage, though, because they would be like, you can't fire him, he's trans.
So I heard that there were basically the part of the reason why this went viral is there was a 9-minute video made by a YouTuber with a couple million subs, where he kind of goes over the whole drama. It wasn't a very good video. I watched it on stream today. But basically, he says that Mr. Beast is caught between a rock and a hard place because he cannot publicly disavow Chris because he will get blasted for being transphobic, but he cannot keep Chris on because viewers are inevitably going to start leaving as he pushes more and more weird stuff into the videos. So the only hope is if Chris decides to resign or stop.
It's not an unreasonable assumption, because yes, he will probably push more and more weird stuff into the videos, and no, he can't fire him because he will be blasted for being transphobic. And it's also just the personal angle as well, because if you have a friend that you actually are good friends with and they do this, you might have all sorts of complicated emotions about it as well. So yeah, it's not an easy position.
It's 8 o'clock, Arch. We're late.
I know. We're gonna be later, but we're seeing the end now.
Okay.
Obduelo says it's a fake screenshot. Production hasn't begun on the Harry Potter thing, I'm guessing. Yeah, no, it was recently announced they were going to start it. Mark Ashamed, just play Thrawn's Revenge mod for Empire at War. Maybe. Il Bookman, keep up the good weight work. Dev, keep bullying him, Arch. Oh, don't worry, I will. I intend. Dean Domino 25. Remember that pre-diversity, Star Wars had black actors as city administrators, rebel leaders, Lando, 2 Jedi Masters, Mace Windu and Adi Gyra, and Queen's Guard, Captain Panaka. Finn was a janitor. True. Very, very true. Oh god, Finn. Finn. Fuck Finn. Finn has such a terrible character. We don't have time to get in on that now. Chat, donate $2 more dollars, and then we can get a nice round number, then we can stop. Donate money to stop stream immediately. Mark Shamed, KK has a personal droid designated F69. F69. F60. Jesus. I got it. I understood. I got the reference. Lodge 290. Bring back the Lodge on like Rumble. Oh, God, I don't have time for that. I am already doing too much stupid stuff. Oliver Nord. Quick recap. A Chinese guy with CCP ties brag about supporting Liberal candidate beating Conservative rival. PM Justin asks opposition to stop talking about it for its spread racism acts. Because that was the urgent issue here. There you go. Oh, Oberduello says Star Wars Ray picture is fake. Ah, there you go. Yep. Thank you for the $2 super chat. There you go. Marksman of 107B2 and Viking Kiwi as well. Thank you. Well, now you've ruined the round number. Now I'm going to ask for another $96. Come on. But yes, of course, supporting rival candidates is racism. I mean, that's obvious. Scarfy the Strange says, does AI have a will of its own? No. No, it does not. At the very least, not AI now. True artificial intelligence, that's a debate too long to take at this point, but no, is my short answer.
I'm not even sure if some people do.
Nope, I'm not sure some people do either. Again, that BBC reporter on the interview with Elon, I don't think he had much up in the top stairs there. Mythical Fool sends a peach, a pair of cheeks. It's the yellow peach. I don't know why YouTube doesn't let you send super stickers and messages at the same time. Like, that's just greedy. Dryfee says, isn't that what the whole redefinition of marriage was about years ago? Many were not necessarily against civil marriage, but were afraid the slope would be new def would be used against churches. I don't know about that controversy, because I haven't looked into it. But my position have always been that civil marriage should be open to everyone that is a citizen of the nation, because it is a benefit. Like, you get actual tangible benefits for having a civil marriage, and so it should be open to everyone, rather than, you know, just the sole purview of a religious institution.
Yep, this is I always phrase it like this. All right, do you want a gay man to marry another gay man and adopt a child and get a regular job and have a regular house and contribute to their civilization a little bit, or do you want them to go to gay clubs and engage in piss-guzzling orgies and spread monkeypox? Which one do you want? Those are your choices.
That's true. As tempting as the piss-guzzling orgy is... Mark James says, my argument to people like Vosh is, I can live under the dictatorship of the proletariat, but they won't survive it. The dictatorship of the proletariat. I mean, I think that's just another keyword for revolution until they get a state again, because that's what happened everywhere else they tried it, but... No one says, I work on infrastructure for classified documents. If the US had a need-to-know based system, the leak would not happen, but the SecOps get ignored. I imagine it does. On several occasions where they just think like, oh, it's easier to just do it this way, and they get lazy too. Lance Corporal Veteran says, I guard Fed properties, employees are never searched. Oh. And you need to tell them to do that. Or they'll show up on Discord servers. Called the Thug Shakers. I love that name. It is so 20-something. Did you all stand it? Guys, if the feminists win, society would collapse. They can't run anything properly. Give it 10 years and it would all fall apart. Not unlikely. It is, in fact, rather likely. We have seen how feminism worked in Sweden and Finland, after all, and they're currently begging for right-wing rule. 47 Arbok. Arch, since you've been streaming it lately, what's your take on Total War Warhammer 3? Is it a good game for someone who hasn't played the first two for a newcomer to Total War, or should I wait for CA not to suck? If you haven't played 1 or 2, then yes, you should get Total War Warhammer 3. Because it's still a good game, it's just that it's the same good game that's been released 3 times at full price plus hundreds of dollars of DLC. And it's not that good of a game. But if you don't have any of the others, definitely. Ace1918 says, don't blame the gay, blame the Marxists. That is a good distinction. Oh, I can see the end of the list just a little bit more. Marksman of 17B. Dev, thoughts on Atomic Heart soundtrack? Did you enjoy it? Dev waffled off to take another ginormous shit somewhere.
I'm right here.
Oh.
Okay. Everything else about that game, it was just okay. Yes. I feel like it was kind of, there were some really good songs that were poorly used. You know?
That was Atomic Heart in a nutshell. Like, a very good game for a first-time studio, but like everything was just like a few meters away from great. It never quite reached up there.
Yep. It was still a breath of fresh air, though, compared to some of the shit that's come out.
Yes. I wish they did the perv fridge waifu more, because I thought she was really funny.
Yep, same.
Zonta says, Dev, on a scale of 1 to 10, how dumb was Carlson, Tucker I'm guessing, for citing Russian propaganda that even Russian state media called ludicrous?
I actually didn't see that. I know you talked about it earlier, Ash, but that news story missed me. I didn't know what's happening with that.
I don't know if Russian media commented on it. At least I haven't seen it, but it was pretty stupid, because that is the kind of stuff you should probably be double-checking.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Shame says, it isn't just the dudes the BBC is showing to kids. It's the T prosthetic they are showing. T prosthetics. Okay, so they're showing like trans people with prosthetic dicks, I guess.
Or boobs, maybe. The T means tits.
Maybe. Oh, that'd be weird. Like, I get it. And the thing is, I don't fucking think children should be like, oh, you need to learn to love your body, etc. No, just accept it, bro. You can't change it. It's fine. Deal with it like everybody else has dealt with it. Like, literally, you need to grow up at some point. And if there's something you want to change, odds are you can probably do it via exercise and working out and doing stuff with yourself. Very rarely is any of this going to require, like, psychological treatments and all kinds of blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Artemis Fowl says, the lore on that question was that he said he could debate any side of the argument. So I said it was objectively immoral and he would have to take the opposite side, which is optically funny. That is true. Well, Dev, I look forward to your argument for why child pornography is objectively good.
That is not what I said. That is not how that argument laid out. What I said was because all morality is ultimately subjective, you can have a civilization that likes pretty much anything that you might personally think is immoral.
Yeah, because it's all arbitrary. The other interpretation, because it's funny.
Because, like, okay, you could have a civilization that is pro-child porn, and by their normative standards, that stuff's good, and then you as the outsider, you say it's immoral. But this all ultimately just comes down to how you feel about it, because that's how morality works. It's all feelings.
I mean, not incorrect, but I still want to hear you make the argument. Dreyfus says, I don't know, historical morality rates are usually screwed by infinite morality. Usually, if you made to adulthood, naturally you would make it fairly close to ages today, late 50s to 60s. I mean, that's the thing, like, today, the average age in the West ain't 50s and 60s. It's like 90s, 80s, and 100s. We live so far beyond what we should naturally do. It's insane. Viking Kiwi says, so have you heard about the potential work strike in Norway, Arch? Also, a while ago, I heard FRP wants to go nuclear. Based FRP. Yes, FRP, good. Vote FRP. Even if you're not Norwegian, just come over here and vote FRP. It's fine. You don't need to know anymore. I did. There's another worker strike. It happens goddamn monthly over here. Complaining, whinging, whining. Oh, yeah. So long as it doesn't affect me. Obduello says Star Wars Red Picture is fake. Maximum 170B says lol. And Viking Kiwi and Mr. Bob737 donates $2. One saying hashtag stream end fund. There you go. Well, we're close to our round number now, and we are 13 minutes late to Barotrauma. So I suppose we should wrap up today. Right. Well, Dev, if you're there and not on the toilet. He's on the toilet. Okay. Well, whilst Dev is off sinking some battleships again, thank you, Dev.
Hold on, I'm here. Listen, I've been setting up for the Barotrauma stream too, so I've been going in and out. But I'm here. I've been listening. Why are those headphones? Are a beautiful thing.
I don't know. I don't think they're a beautiful thing because I now have to know that you were listening to me whilst you were shitting, and I didn't like that. That felt like an invasion of my privacy, frankly. As we let's chat, listen to the Barotrauma startup sound in the background. But Viking Kiwi says also, what is Dev and Kibs going to have a play debate between Economy Boy and Squirrel Glowy? Yes, let's have Dev, Kyle, Eco Boy, and Artemis in the same room. That'll work out. Fucking
that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun. The only person who's refusing this debate at this point is Artemis. Economy Boy's down.
Slutimus, how dare you? Oh, okay. We're gonna have to bully Slutimus for that later.
Yeah, because I know Econoboy and Artemis have some very different ideas about economics, but they're both educated. All right. I know Artemis is a bit autistic, but they're both educated people, and the conversation is at least interesting. And I've approached Econoboy, and he says yes. He says yes several times. So, and Artemis is always like,
Oh, Slutimus, stop being coward. Alright, and with that, and with the Barotrauma music playing in the background to insistently drag us away from our current endeavor, thank you, Dev, for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem. I think what's happening with the Tubcast is it's not going to be consistently Saturdays anymore. So if you need somebody to join in, I can join in sometime. Probably more than normal than I have been in the past. If you want me to join in with V or without V, I'm generally around. You know how to contact me. In fact, I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes on a different stream.
That's true. And thank you everyone very much for watching and for your super generous donations as well. And we will be doing a redirect over to Kyle and Barotrauma once again. So have a good day, and I hope to see you all again soon. Good night.